In reality, they think the consumption of that unit is spending a lot more in the long term.
Get your tune-up today at Family Heating and Air, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
WIBC News Time 9:05, and now here's the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Partly cloudy, hot and humid. Scattered afternoon storms possible today, a high of 92. Scattered storms early this evening, partly cloudy and steamy overnight, a low of 76. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
It's 75 and mostly sunny over Monument Circle. I'm Donnie Burgess on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Diamond Engagement Ring Store.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 26th. It is 6 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. His name is Rob Kendall. You can find him on Twitter, Rob M. Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. You can find me there too at Casey Daniels 317. And we're streaming live on YouTube right now. Type in Kendall and Casey into the YouTube search bar. We have a big show for you today. Huge show at 10 o'clock. Jefferson Shreve, Indianapolis mayoral candidate, is going to join us.
Yeah, we're going to get into all the gun stuff, the controversy on the gun proposal, the public safety proposal as a collective. And look, here's what I'm going to say. The guy is willing to come in and answer the questions. And on this show, what is the primary thing we complain about, Casey, is what a bunch of gutless cowards so many of these politicians are, who they lord over people, they do things that affect people's lives, they put out public policy that's complete crap, and then they run and hide, and they badmouth us for talking about their public policy. He has stepped up. He said, I will come in, I will answer the questions, I will take whatever arrows you're going to, sling at me. And so it's going to be a wild and wacky hour of radio coming up at 10 o'clock.
All right, but we begin the show with the I word. I'm talking about impeachment. Kevin McCarthy, who has a 66% approval rating, by the way, said that he could launch an impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. And that is if the administration fails to provide information that the committees are seeking while they're investigating him and his family.
Well, as Bruce Willis said in Die Hard, welcome to the party, pal. And as Joe Biden once said, get ready, pal. You're going to in for a problem. Now, everyone knows what Joe Biden is, who Joe Biden is, what his family is. I said this, I think you were on vacation when I said this, that it is amazing to me that there would ever be in my lifetime someone that would occupy the White House that was more corrupt than the Clintons. You always thought they were the gold standard of...
He's lapping them.
Just blatant corruption and criminal behavior. But the Clintons look like someone on a work release program compared to what it is appearing that the Biden, it's the family. It's not just the inner circle like with the Clintons where it's Bill and Hillary. It's the family as a collective. I mean, you've got, siblings involved in this. You've got the kids involved in this. He's obviously involved in this. And it is a level, I will say this, the one thing the House Republicans are doing, now they're not taking any tangible action yet on it, but they are, Comer and Jim Jordan and the rest of these guys are really exposing, if you're willing to listen, what Joe Biden and this family is, and they are a bunch of criminals.
So the White House press secretary, of course, is brushing aside the possibility of an impeachment inquiry. But Kevin McCarthy says he can't ignore it anymore, and here he is making the case for impeachment.
Now, as an elected official, having all this information, should I ignore it? No. Congress has a responsibility for an investigation wing. All I'm saying is, and I'm sure you'd probably ask the same question, where's the truth? You've got to get to the bottom of the truth. And the only way Congress can do that is go to impeachment inquiry that gives Republicans and Democrats the ability to get all the information.
Okay, so you ever notice how Kevin McCarthy, when he's saying something to the media, never sounds like he's making a definitive statement? He's always posing it in the form of some sort of, like, don't you agree with me?
He wants affirmation.
You know what he sounds like, Casey? He sounds like me at 3 a.m. trying to reason with Olivia. Like you can't.
Don't you want to go to sleep?
You can't make a definitive statement to a 4-week-old child, but you can try to, in your mind, reason with them as though there is any difference. And that is what Kevin McCarthy sounds like to me every single time he is in front of the media. Just say the damn thing. Biden is corrupt. Biden is a criminal. His kid is a criminal. The family is all of the above, and we are going to expose it to everyone, and we are taking this guy out. Instead, it's this. Well, don't you? But what? But it's like he's like a gas like sitcom character, right? It is just the most ridiculous thing. But at least it appears it'll take them 93 weeks to get to it. But at least it appears they're moving towards an impeachment inquiry.
Well, and they're kind of waffling on the timeline because you had mentioned Comer and Jordan. They're saying things are speeding up, and McCarthy is tiptoeing into the impeachment waters very slowly. It's like, oh, it's cold. I don't want to go in that water. But he is very slowly putting his foot in.
You know who I'd love to ask about this?
Who?
Of course, he would never come on this show because he's a tough guy everywhere but with us, is Jim Banks. Because Jim Banks is tweeting out, Biden should be impeached and blah, 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 blah. Well, I would love to ask Jim Banks, because you may know this, Casey. He voted for Kevin McCarthy 15 times. Why his amigo, his palski, his best buddy Kevin McCarthy is so, would trepid be the right word, when yet Jim Banks and the rest of the Republicans he supposedly hangs out with are Billy Badass on this. What is the difference? This is the guy you voted for 15 times. What's the holdup?
Well, you had mentioned your daughter, a baby, 4-week-old baby, and at times it feels like the Biden administration thinks that Americans are just a baby who does not understand. We don't have the capacity to get what they're doing, but we do. And now it's being revealed, another example of how corrupt this whole thing is. A close associate of the Biden family, his name is Alexander Mackler. He appears to have worked in the Delaware U.S. Attorney's Office for years, and this includes during the time that office was investigating Hunter Biden.
I love these people's names. Yesterday it was Devin Archer.
Yes, today we have Alexander Mackler.
It's never Jim Smith, right? Although I guess the prosecutor's name is Jack Smith, who's prosecuting Trump, so that's not totally accurate. So, yes, it has come out, Newsmax, various other media outlets. I think the Washington Examiner was the one who first reported it, that this guy, Alexander Mackler, who is a longtime Biden family associate, like very close with the Bidens, was in the Delaware U.S. Attorney's Office when the investigation into Hunter Biden was ongoing.
Mm-hmm. He worked there for a long time. He worked for Joe Biden. He was the press secretary in Joe Biden's Senate office. That tells you how far back this relationship goes. He was legal counsel in his vice presidential office. He was also part of the Biden-Harris transition team, and he managed the late Beau Biden's successful campaign for Delaware Attorney General. So the ties with this guy, Mackler, and the Bidens goes back decades.
So it is not some guy who you would say, well, I was just a Democrat voter and I went to a fundraiser once and Joe Biden happened to be the speaker.
Just a distant associate. No, they have had years of not only a working, but a personal relationship.
Okay, and you make a great point here, Casey. This is relevant because if you are that U.S. attorney in Delaware and your job is to find justice, how would you not know the track record of every single person in your office? And wouldn't you look at this guy and go, yeah, that's not going to work because this guy is best friends with the Bidens?
This is one of those situations where you go, you need to recuse yourself.
Yeah, but you can't even, it's like, I may have told you this. I'm binge watching because, well, again, Casey, at 3 a.m., you're at the mercy of an infant. Mm-hmm. And so I have begun binge watching 24.
Yeah.
And people may remember that show was on for years and years on Fox News.
Kiefer, right?
Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. And there were all sorts of other famous people who were guest stars. It was the most popular show on TV for many years. And it is a terrorism show where every year it's 24 hours. Each episode is 1 hour, and there's some sort of catastrophic terrorism event, and Kiefer Sutherland is the only guy who can save the nation. Amazing how it happened year after year after year after year. But every year, there is always multiple moles or people who are working for the terrorists who you believe are good guys in the beginning. And one of the things that was like, you can't even have these people in the counterterrorism unit because they have access to all the information that they can give the terrorists. Now, am I saying Joe Biden's a terrorist? No. Am I saying Joe Biden's a criminal? Yes. And this is one of the guys who would be on 24 who you would go, what? He was a bad guy all along working against the government? This guy's got all the information. He can give Joe Hunter everything.
He's on the inside, and all he needs to do is pick up a phone and text Hunter Biden and let him know, this is what they're looking at today. Of course.
This is ridiculous.
And you better believe it happened. All right, it is 15 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. And LeBron James' son had a collapse and was rushed to the hospital. And we'll get to that coming up from 93 WIBC.
Another news update is minutes away.
A fight happened at a travel basketball tournament.
A player on a girls' travel team from Cincinnati hit a referee.
Get the facts.
This is rising to the level of impeachment inquiry.
About then Vice President Biden.
Not just the talking points.
Reveals a corrupt influence peddling scheme.
When events happen.
Texas is not backing down.
We'll happen to be there.
To enforce the laws already on the books.
On the level.
On the go.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
Hey, Ruthie, a bunch of us are heading out to Monroe Lake today. Any recos for a good drink out by the lake?
Sure. Total Wine & More is practically lakeside headquarters. My personal favorite is an easy-sipping tequila like this new Reposado.
Ooh, I bet that tequila pairs well with my new camping chair.
And you can relax even more knowing this price is the lowest in town.
Wow, that low price leaves other stores in your wake.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at your Total Wine & More in Indianapolis. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for Zero Res, and summer's hit us like a freight train, and believe it or not, it's a great time to clean your carpets. Why? Well, it's because your carpets are the largest air filter in your home and can hold 4 times their weight in dirt. Say what? With summertime allergies kicking in, it's time to clean them up, especially with this great deal from Zero Res. Right now at Zero Res, you get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $139, plus a free hallway and $50 off air duct cleaning too. Nobody but Zero Res has the patented electrolyzed ZR water. No soap, no harsh chemicals, no residue to attract more dirt. They can even clean your ductwork to help you breathe easier. Duct cleaning improves the air quality in your home as well as the efficiency of your HVAC equipment and reducing energy costs. Call Zero Res today and mention WIBC. You'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $139, and they'll give you a free hallway and $50 off air duct cleaning too. For a smarter, lasting clean and really easy scheduling, call 388-5141 or visit ZeroResIndy.com.
We buy any car.
Selling your car by yourself can lead to some strange encounters.
So how many bodies does this car hold? Bodies? It's a 5-passenger car.
Right. Passengers. Don't deal with selling it yourself. Come to WeBuyAnyCar.com instead. It's easy. You get in, get out, and get paid at a fair price.
I sell mannequins. Oh, what'd you think? Nothing. Nothing at all.
Get your free online valuation now at
WeBuyAnyCar.com.
The U.S. home price index is on the rise, and interest rates are stabilizing. The market is turning more seller-friendly. If you've been waiting, now may be the best time to sell your home. Find out with the agent I recommend, Mark Dietl. Maybe you want to maximize equity from your home, but not sure how. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Ben in Indianapolis had to say about working with Mark Dietl. I wanted to upgrade into a bigger place, so selling my old place at top dollar was a priority. I hired Mark Dietl, and the team was amazing. I got a great cash offer before going on the market that included closing costs with no appraisal. I was blown away by the Mark Dietl team. Call for all the details. Call the agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl 317-755-4232 or go online to markdietl.com. It's Mark, DIETEL.com. 317-755-4232 or markdietl.com.
If your loved one has stopped seeing friends because hearing loss prevents the use of the telephone, please help them by visiting RelayIndiana.com. RelayIndiana.com provides captioned telephones that allow the hard of hearing to have phone conversations through voice recognition technology. The other person's words appear on an easy-to-read screen. Help your loved one stay in touch with their family and friends by getting them the CapTel captioned telephone from Relay Indiana. Learn more at RelayIndiana.com.
Pierce Jewelers wants you to know the diamond world has changed. You can choose mined or lab-grown diamonds. Unlike chain stores, Pierce Jewelers carries both. They can educate and help you save your hard-earned money.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's like a jackal from hell.
And Casey Daniels.
Want to touch the hiney?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is 20 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. A few things I want to let you be aware of. Coming up at 10 o'clock, Jefferson Shreve is going to join us. He's running for mayor for the city of Indianapolis. So we're going to get into a lot of things with him, ask a lot of questions, and hope that he's ready for it.
Here's what I will say about Jefferson Shreve, and I think it's going to be a fascinating conversation, is whether you agree with the guy or not.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly there are components to his public safety proposal that people are very upset about. He is willing to come in and answer the questions. And he didn't say ever we have to talk about A, B, and C.
He never said keep this off the list.
Nope.
I won't talk about that.
Nope. And so that is what we should want from our politicians. Whether we agree with them or not, so much of what we talk about on this show is a complete lack of accessibility to the people who make choices and a complete lack of accountability of people who make the choices. And whatever he says, it's probably not going to change my mind on the gun proposal. It's probably not going to change your mind. It may not change anyone's mind. But the reality is he is doing the thing today, will do the thing beginning at 10 o'clock, that we are so adamant and so upset about politicians and our elected people not doing, which is own your baggage. Exactly. Now, I'm sure he doesn't look at his gun proposal as baggage. We look at it as baggage. But he has said, they listen to this.
This is my plan, and this is how I came up with it. This is why.
They listen to this show. They listen to the other shows. They know what our opinion is. And he said, I'm not running. I'll come in. I'll answer whatever you want to talk about. There was no topic they took off the table. And that, to me, is everything we should want from our politicians, because reasonable people can disagree, and I think it's going to be a fascinating conversation coming up at 10 o'clock.
Another thing we have coming up later in the show is your chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the Indiana State Fair. Yes, again today. We're making winners today, Rob, winners!
Do we have to take phone calls? Is that how we do it? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Like we can't just say, hey, we're going to find Kev a date and we're going to have everybody send their pictures and Kev will decide who is the winner.
No, there's no qualifications. All you have to do is call the phone, call the line, and we'll get a winner later this morning. But they did just announce their concert schedule, the full list. It's on WIBC.com right now if you want to go to the side piece and check that out. And they're opening up the shows with Clint Black on Friday.
How exciting.
Yeah, it will be exciting. And lots of good bands coming to Indianapolis for the State Fair. One other thing that I wanted to mention, have you seen this story about the Biden's dog, Commander?
No.
It has.
Was this the one that was biting everyone?
Yes, that's it exactly. It has bit or otherwise attacked Secret Service personnel at least 10 times between October 22 and January, including one incident that was so bad it required a hospital visit by one of the law enforcement officials.
Yes.
And I have to think, if this were any other dog, it might have been put down by now. And it's not even the second time this has happened. They did have a previous dog, a German Shepherd named Major, and that dog was very aggressive as well.
Now, you are a dog person.
Mm-hmm, I have a dog.
I am a dog person. Kev is a dog person. I've had multiple dogs in my life, and I have found that the dog takes on the persona of the owner, right? Like my bulldog, Bruce, is a dog version of me. He is Mr. I want to be everybody's best friend, Mr. Do you need a best friend, Mr. Happiest guy in every room. However, he makes it very clear that he is the alpha and is in charge of every place that he goes. I look at my dog, and the persona of my dog is if Rob Kendall were an English bulldog.
Yeah.
Have you found with your Gracie dog that it has taken on the persona of you and your man's over the years?
Yeah, she's lazy. No, she's actually she's getting older, so she does a lot of sleeping these days. But yeah, pets do tend to take after their owner. And I just realized when I came over to your place to meet baby Olivia, I didn't see Bruce. Where was Bruce even there?
Well, so for those who have been over to my house, Bruce has his own room.
Yeah.
And it is a large room. For those of you who are like, you're locking him in a closet.
No.
It is a very large room where Bruce has free reign to do in that room as he sees fit. And we do that because I don't know if you know this, Casey. English bulldogs destroy everything they come in contact with.
Slobber a lot.
He does all the things. And so my wife and I made an executive choice when we purchased our home. Bruce, this room is yours.
Mm-hmm.
We will clean it to the best of our ability on a regular basis, but at least we will mitigate the damage to this room. And so that is where we go see and play with Bruce. And it's like his home. People might say, well, what a mean thing to do. No, he loves it. Like that is his home. It is his area. He knows I may put my bones. I may put my chew toys. I may move my food bowl. It is his, just like a kid would have a room. Yeah. Bruce has his own room.
Well, he's a lucky dog because you can tell that he is very loved. By the way, the Bidens also have a cat, and the cat is named Willow. All right. Do we want to talk about what's going on with LeBron James's son, or should we get into the polling that's going on?
Why don't we do the polling, because there's fascinating polling on Trump that is out, and then maybe to steal a Jen Psaki phrase, why don't we circle back to the Elon Musk comments on LeBron James' son?
All right, you're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. That is on the way.
When you hear Diamonds Direct, it's not just a catchy name designed to give the illusion of value. Our name is who we really are. Diamonds Direct was started by diamond cutters a quarter of a century ago. At our very core is a commitment to cut out the middleman and deliver extreme value in exquisite diamonds. Today, that's more true than ever, with our direct access to diamonds straight from the mines. Diamonds that we then cut and polish. Exquisite diamonds up to 15 and 20 carats in all shapes and sizes. It's an advantage other jewelers only dream of. By overseeing the entire process, we know for a fact Diamonds Direct is truly direct. So this year, as value becomes more important than ever, rest assured that Diamonds Direct's unique status in the world diamond market guarantees you the best no middleman direct importer price, period. And even with this extreme value promise, at Diamonds Direct you still get an unbeatable selection, transparent education, a luxurious shopping experience, superior customer service, no compromises. It's not having a cool name or clever advertising, it's the truth. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
You've undoubtedly heard of the calm before the storm. Well, Michaelis is the calm after the storm. More than 3 decades of restoring damage from wind, rain, and hail. They've got your back, not to mention your front, side, and roof. It's why home and business owners beat a path to Michaelis' door, because it's always answered around the clock with welcome arms. Your port in the storm. From site security and tarping services to complete restoration work, they can handle anything Mother Nature throws your way. Seasoned and trustworthy pros who are never deterred by a little wind and rain, or a motherload of it for that matter. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Dreaming about the freedom of the open road? Your local Tire Barn warehouse is now a full-service location, offering high-quality Valvoline oil changes. Your vehicle will be ready for any adventure, whether it's a road trip or a day at the beach. All Valvoline oil changes include a free courtesy inspection of your vehicle's fluid levels, battery, brakes, steering and suspension, tire tread depth, and pressure. Tire Barn is now offering appointment-free Valvoline oil changes. Whatever your dreams are this summer, Tire Barn Warehouse is here to drive them. See store for details. Some restrictions apply.
Have you lost Indiana Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Yankee legend Bernie Williams has a personal message to share.
Idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, or IPF, is a rare and serious lung disease that affected my dad. Its symptoms, which include shortness of breath, fatigue, and a dry, persistent cough, are similar to other more common conditions like COPD, which means that IPF is often misdiagnosed. There is no cure for IPF, but there are treatments that can help slow disease progression. If you think you or a loved one may have IPF, don't wait. Visit breathlessipf.com to learn more and talk to a pulmonologist today.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The heat index is the one to watch. It's 79, but feels like 85 degrees. Basically, it's hot. I'm Donnie Burgess. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Highs are in the 90s this week, but it might feel like 100 at times.
On Thursday and Friday, we've issued a heat advisory for much of central Indiana, including the Indianapolis metro.
Forecaster Jason Puma says you want to be ready for severe weather today and storms through Sunday. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor's in the last year of his rookie contract. Whether or not he signs a new contract with the Indianapolis Colts, who drafted him, is not clear.
We're not going to get into what kind of contract negotiations we're getting into with any of our guys.
General Manager Chris Ballard Tuesday, he said they think highly of Taylor, but also mentioned they'll let the situation play out. The Federal Reserve should decide if interest rates will change at all today. The interest rate went unchanged last month for the first time in over a year. As for today, well, that's up in the air. And as for the stock market, things are, well, they're in the red right now. The Dow Jones is down 117 to 35,320. The Nasdaq down 22 points to 14,122. And the S&P 500 opened 7 points lower to 4,559. I'm Donnie Burgess, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The Indiana State Fair is back, and so is American Dairy Association Indiana's famous and fabulous State Fair Dairy Bar. From July 28th through August 20th, we'll be serving up all the great dairy bar treats you've been craving, like our rich and creamy signature milkshakes, scrumptious grilled cheese sandwiches, thirst-quenching ice-cold milk, and more. This year's featured treats include the Italian melt grilled cheese, a sensational melding of provolone with basil pesto on sourdough, plus the return of our biggest selling shake ever, the Mint Cookie Milkshake, a chocolatey delight topped with crumbled Girl Scout Thin Mint cookies. The Dairy Bar, a great Indiana State Fair tradition. We're on Main Street opposite the Indiana Farmers Coliseum, and we're open every day during the fair from 9 to 9. See you there.
Brought to you by American Dairy Association Indiana, your Hoosier Dairy Farm families. Find out more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hi, I'm Sherry Shepherd. You probably know me best as a co-host on The View. More importantly, I'm a mom. I talk to a lot of moms, and I'll tell you what, we all want the best for our babies. But each year, more than 500,000 babies are born prematurely, and this can lead to serious health problems. The good news is that now if you're pregnant or a new mom, you can get easy access to information to keep your baby healthy. It's through a free service called Text for Baby. Pregnant women and new moms get timely, expert health tips sent directly to their cell phones. The tips will help you care for your new child in each important phase of early development. Get Text for Baby. Free messages on your cell phone to help you through your pregnancy and your baby's first year. Just text BABY, B-A-B-Y, to 511-411. That's BABY, B-A-B-Y, to 511-411 for the health of your baby.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
I went home with a waitress.
Polling. A snapshot in time. Well, this snapshot looks very good for Donald Trump. It is 9:34. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So the latest Rasmussen report came out, and it says that Donald Trump is crushing it, drawing a 57% support. He is handedly beating Ron DeSantis at this point.
Well, it's an incredible margin. It's 44 points, according to Rasmussen. Now, Rasmussen over the years has traditionally been a more friendly poll to Trump. However, whether it's 44 points or 40 points or 39 points or whatever, it is at this point It is not close. And I remain. There are very few things in politics that I look at and say, well, I did not see that coming.
I did not see this coming.
And in the case of Trump continuing to dominate the polling over Ron DeSantis, I genuinely believed, and I'm pretty good at, looking at the landscape of the political society and saying whether I think it's good or not, here's what is likely to happen. I genuinely believed that people would see Ron DeSantis with all the money that he has, and they would look at what he did in Florida, and they would say, well, gosh darn it, why would I continue this needless drama and alienation of voters that comes with Trump when I can have a guy who has been consistently more conservative and liberty and freedom-minded and quite honestly been far more competent in his actual governance than Trump was as a president. And yet people are just like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope, don't want that.
We thought that Ron DeSantis would be making big gains by Father's Day.
Yeah.
Well, that's come and gone, and he, in fact, is going the other way.
Well, okay, and again, I preface it by saying this. To steal a line from Animal House, nothing's over until we decide it's over. Nothing matters until the votes start getting counted in Iowa. We see this all the time where so-and-so was the overwhelming favorite, and then we got to Iowa, and what a surprise on election night. It doesn't have that feel. It doesn't right now have the feel of, my gosh, DeSantis is a surging candidate. If anything, it's your ex-boyfriend Ramaswamy.
He's the one who's tracking right now.
Is the new darling. Now, Trump will make mincemeat out of that guy if he ever views him as a threat.
I don't know if he will completely, because Vivek has been defending Trump along the way.
But he's not. But if Vivek actually wants to be the president, there's going to come a moment where he can't be subservient to Trump. And it doesn't even matter whether he's nice to Trump or not. DeSantis was super nice to Trump. And look at what Trump did to him.
Yeah.
And what does it say about the Republican electorate that 6 months ago, Ron DeSantis was, oh my gosh, if only our governor were like DeSantis and every state should be like Florida. And oh boy, what a Superman. And just some bad words from Trump that are stupid. I mean, Trump's attacks on DeSantis are stupid and they're childish and they're ridiculous. And yet apparently that's all it takes. And people just go, well, whatever Trump attacks, I'm against that too.
Some childish name calling, and all of a sudden his numbers start going down.
Now look, let me be very clear, because this is not a pot meat kettle moment. I'm not against childish name calling. I love childish name calling. If you deserve a childish name to be called, then by all means do it. Ron DeSantis is not that guy though. And maybe it's not even the Republican Party anymore. Maybe it's the Trump Party. Maybe that's where the base of the party is maybe it is now the party of Donald Trump. And forever and always now, it is whoever Trump, coronates or whatever is the person, because it makes no sense to me. This is not Chris Christie that we are talking about. This is not Asa Hutchinson. It's not Eric Holcomb. It's not some squish, moderate at best, likely left Republican rhino. You're talking about the most successful governor in the entire country. And not only can he not gain traction, but people have now turned against him because Trump gave him a nickname.
In the latest Rasmussen polls, Trump is at 57%. DeSantis still in double digits. He is the only opponent of Trump in double digits. He's sitting at 13%. And then you have everybody else. Pence at 5%, Chris Christie at 5%, Tim Scott at 4%, Nikki Haley 4%, Asa Hutchinson 4%, and Vivek at 3%. In the Quinnipiac University poll, DeSantis fares a little bit better, where he's at 25%, but yet still trailing Trump.
Well, yeah, and the takeaway is whether it's Quinnipiac or Rasmussen or whatever, Trump is overwhelmingly in control of the Republican primary at this point. Ron DeSantis can't seem to do anything to make inroads, and it's, man, I just keep coming back to this. It is like...
Don't say it's his voice.
No.
Don't say it's his voice.
What this is, and we've talked about this before, it is, you've got a buddy who is in love with some just lunatic lady, and every single one of his friends is going, I don't care how good that is between the hours of midnight and 3 a.m. It ain't worth this. Yet in the mind of the guy, it is that good between the hours of midnight and 3 a.m. And it doesn't matter how crazy it is in the light of day. You are not reasoning with that guy. Logic has failed. There is nothing that you're going to do to convince him, and you've just got to sometimes just let the car crash happen.
Mhm.
I mean, you know.
So when the "Hey, you up" text comes in, we're still answering. Well, Ron DeSantis is making some changes. His campaign has laid off 38 staff members. They're trying to revamp among these, stagnant poll numbers. But the interesting thing with this is they have spent a lot of money. Ron DeSantis raised a lot of money, but they spent a lot of money.
Well, it's very, and I hate to say this because I don't think governance-wise these guys are close, but it's very Jeb Bush, which is interesting, a governor of Florida, just like Jeb Bush was, in the way that there has been this huge operation and it has not appeared to have made a dent. Now, what I will say, and clearly it's not because he's letting these people go. If he had internals that were showing him it was working, he would just keep plodding along. Iowa is a different animal in the sense of relationships matter there perhaps more than anywhere else. And so your ground game matters. Your ability to get people to show up on a cold January night, your ability to get people to stay for the whole thing. These are the sort of things, who shows up really matters in Iowa more than anywhere else. Maybe he is not finding that ground game has produced the results he's wanting, and perhaps maybe he's saying a leaner, more efficient campaign will be more effective for us in the end. But it is never good when people in mass start getting the boots from campaigns.
Well, they better hope that strategy is going to work because there have been some of their top donors have given the max amount that they're allowed to. So they can't go back to that if this doesn't work.
Since it's half my show, may I say something for a moment?
Sure.
Because we get a lot of crap about the stuff we say about Trump. And I feel the same way, not exactly, it's not an apples to apples comparison, but I feel the same way about DeSantis that I have Jefferson Shreve so far, in the sense of what I mean by it is this. The country cannot afford 4 more years of Joe Biden. Absolutely cannot. If it is 4 more years of Biden-Harris Incorporated, we will not recognize this country. The same way the city cannot afford 4 more years of Joe Hogsett and Ryan Mears. If we get that, we will not recognize the city of Indianapolis. Look at how different it is 4 years ago. Look at way different it is from 8 years ago. And so I want to, when I am critical of Trump, first of all, it's things he actually did or said. We're not making it up. We're not the New York Times. We're not the Washington Post. We're not, Russia collusion. We're not the Steele dossier. We're talking about actual things he has done in terms of his role as president of the United States. But 2, I don't think Trump can win. I do not believe Donald Trump has taken the necessary steps from 3 years ago to grow as a person, as a candidate necessary to win the people over he lost the last time. The people that he won the first time, that he lost the last time. Now, places like Pennsylvania, there's major issues with balloting, but it's not every state. There are states he lost where balloting or ballot counting was not the actual issue. And I feel like it's the same thing, that if it is Trump, he's going to lose. And 4 years from now, this country is going to be even more recognizable than it is today.
All right. Well, that's not what is being said here in the latest Harris poll, where they have Donald Trump polling ahead of Biden.
I get that, but every other poll has showed he's losing over. This is why polling at this point is it's entertaining for us and hopefully for our audience. But the point I wanted to make, yes, we can go into the poll real quick here in a second. But the point I wanted to make is when we are critical of Trump, one, we're doing it because we are talking about things he actually did as president or is actually doing as someone running for president. We're not never Trumpers. We're doing it because we love the country. We want the country to succeed. We want America to be the vision that the founding fathers had. We want America to be, as Reagan said, the shining city on the hill. America is the last and only hope for a freer, better, more just world. And I just don't think Trump can win. And I'm not going to lie to people and go, oh, yeah, he totally can win. I will vote for him. If he's the pick, I will totally vote for him. But I don't think he can win.
You want the nominee to be someone who can beat Joe Biden.
So if you want to hate me for wanting the country to succeed, well, then okay, I guess I'll deal with that.
Okay, quickly, I'll mention this Harris poll. Trump is sitting at 46%. Biden is at 42%. And among independents, even, Trump is pulling ahead at 42% with Joe Biden at 34%. So
why would you make someone make this choice, though? Because the choice somebody's going to have to make, if indeed Biden stays in this thing and is the nominee, and indeed it is Trump, you're going to force someone to make a choice between someone who they loathe personally. People despise Donald Trump. You can say that's right or wrong. I don't care because I don't need to be friends with the president. Twitter does not hurt me in any shape, form, or fashion. But you're forcing somebody to make a choice that is needless because they would totally vote against Joe Biden if you gave them anyone else other than Trump. And now for some reason, for a guy who's not even a conservative, Trump's not a conservative, he's not a liberty-minded person, he's not any of the things that most conservatives say they want, they're going to force people to make this choice, and it may not end well for you.
Well, it does coincide with a Monmouth University survey, which also said nearly half of Republican voters, 45%, say that Trump is definitely the strongest candidate to beat Biden in 24. And
that's like saying my girlfriend is the best looking person here. What else are you going to say if that's your person? Yeah, of course he's the strongest person. There's nothing statistically that on a consistent basis that shows that Donald Trump is the strongest candidate. I don't care what this poll says. It is an outlier versus everything else that we have seen, which is that Trump is, in many cases, the weakest person. The worst person if you actually want to win, if winning is your goal. Now, you may say, screw it. I don't care. I believe it was stolen and I'm with Trump and we're going to burn this thing to the ground. Well, okay. But if you actually want to win, statistically, scientific polling is showing you in poll after poll after poll after poll, consistently, Trump is the worst person to pick.
Well, but also consistently, he is leading in the polls. DeSantis is at 22%, according to this. And this may be one of those situations where you can run the best, most perfect campaign ever. You're not going to win unless your opponent makes a mistake. Hey, guess what? The opponent, Joe Biden, is making mistakes, and it is catching up with him.
You're going to force people to decide, do I want the person that I absolutely loathe, or do I want the person who I know is a criminal?
Well, do they loathe the criminal more? Yeah, I think so. The guy who's killing our economy.
We will look, and I wholeheartedly, and I know we're going to get to a break. I wholeheartedly, absolutely hope you're right, Casey. If Donald Trump is the nominee, I will cheerlead for him to win. I will cheerlead for people to vote for him. I will cheerlead to get this country back on track. I just think it is a needless exercise and is not going to end well.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, will there be sanctions for Hunter Biden's lawyer and the latest on the race for president? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Life is all about enjoying the little moments. Don't miss out on them because of unexpected heart issues. At Community Health Network, you receive heart care you can trust. From simple screenings to life-saving diagnostic and interventional cardiology services, we offer it all, so you can get back to the moments that matter. Learn more about our services at ecommunity.com/heart. Community Health Network. Exceptional care simply delivered.
4 races, 3 days.
The stars of NASCAR and IndyCar return for Brickyard Weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Friday, August 11th, the next generation of Indy Next by Firestone takes to the road course.
Saturday features the NTT IndyCar Series Gallagher Grand Prix, followed by the NASCAR Xfinity Series Pennzoil 150 presented by Advance Auto Parts.
Then Sunday the 13th, the NASCAR Cup Series takes on the Verizon 200 at the Brickyard.
Power, speed, precision.
And family friendly. Kids under 15 get in free.
Tickets at IMS.com.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, above your eyes, below your eyes, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor, you've visited urgent care over and over again, and it's always the same thing.
Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and nasal sprays.
But the sinus infections keep coming back. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of Indianapolis Sinus Center called balloon sinuplasty. Imagine the relief of not having to deal with your sinus infections anymore. Set an appointment today with Indianapolis Sinus Center and find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Call 317-528-9650. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650.
At DeLong Landscaping, their goal is to create the best curb appeal and outdoor living space for you. That could mean landscape design and installation, retaining walls, outdoor lighting, pergolas, and fire features. DeLong Landscaping specializes in pavers, concrete, stamped concrete, and decks. Google DeLong Landscaping, find them on Facebook, or call them today to schedule your free estimate at 317-667-5163. That's DeLong Landscaping at 317-667-5163.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-339-3838. 800-339-3838. That's 800-339-3838.
Housing discrimination. Would you recognize it and report it? These folks did.
My landlord said rent will be cheaper if we're friends with benefits.
Because I'm legally blind, a landlord questioned whether I'd be capable of maintaining an apartment.
Our real estate agent said a different neighborhood with people like us might better suit our family.
To learn more about housing discrimination, visit hud.gov/fair housing. Fair housing is your right. Use it. A public service message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Hey, we're pretty social people at WIBC. You can find us all over social media. See what we're up to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're never more than just away. Just search for 93 WIBC.
9:52, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
I have an etiquette question for you.
What's that?
And I maybe we should ask Susan on Friday when we come back. By the way, top of next hour, Jefferson Shreve will be with us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was just minding my own business yesterday in the palatial Kendall estate.
Yeah.
And I noticed there were multiple police vehicles out in front of my house. And I thought, boy, the town council has totally taken the weaponization of the police to a new level.
Next level.
So I ventured out of my estate and I noticed there were cars, cop cars, all the way down the street. There were like 3 cop cars. And so I start, peeking my head out and I see a huddled group of police officers engaging in conversation with one of the local townies who is on my street.
Okay.
And I did the Hoosier thing, which is to shout to my wife, honey, grab the baby and come out here. There's police doings going on the street.
You're such a Gladys Kravitz, but go ahead.
And then, of course, my dad is my neighbor. And so
he came out too.
We moseyed over there. And
the whole Kendall family out on the street.
So etiquette-wise, we were having this conversation in the lawn. We're standing there watching this unfold.
Did you get the camera out?
No, I didn't get the camera out. There didn't appear to be any violence of any sort happening. The cops appeared to have it under control. Was that bad etiquette on my part, and my dad said, no, you're a taxpayer. You're allowed to see. You're standing on your own property.
Yeah.
You're minding your own business. You're not engaging anyway in any sort of, illicit activity. You're allowed to sit and watch where your tax dollars are going.
Yeah.
Is that bad etiquette on me to gawk at what the police were doing with my neighbors?
I think it's human nature. I don't know if it's bad etiquette or not, but I would have done the same exact thing.
Because I didn't do it through a window. I wasn't peering through a
that would have been
blind.
even creepier.
Well, I was doing it on my lawn. I was like, if I'm going to do this, I want people to see that I'm watching.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was doing anything wrong, but then there's a part of me that goes, well, am I making a bigger deal out of this than it needs to be? No, I pay the police officer
if there were
salary.
multiple cars out there. Plus, if you were in the way, they would have told you.
Oh, no, there's no way I could be in the way. I was on my property. I was on private property. The police were 2 or 3 houses down. I just wondered, am I being a nosy Nelly?
Of course you were.
Okay, but that's not bad etiquette.
You're okay.
All right.
Hey, I've got something to let you know about.
Oh, great.
I've been asked to be a governor's candidate debate moderator.
Oh, you've been asked to be a what?
A governor's candidate debate moderator.
What the hell is that?
Well, when there's a debate, there's the moderator who asks the questions, right?
Uh-huh.
That's going to be me. That's coming up this fall. It's going to happen in Hamilton County, and the focus is going to be on medical liberty with a concentration on vaccines, lockdown, masking, and how the governor's candidates would have handled the pandemic differently.
How did this happen? Who's doing this?
Well, the Stand for Health Freedom and Hoosiers for Medical Liberty are going to be writing some of the questions. And I have encouraged all of the primary candidates to participate or minimally, talking to you, Mike Braun, minimally send a position statement.
Congratulations. I guess I wasn't asked because they didn't want them to call the candidates a-holes.
Probably. All right, we've got Jefferson Shreve who's going to join us next. 9:55 is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
My little brother's friends have been camped out at our place for 2 days straight. 3. It's because of the Xfinity 10G network. Internet that can handle a house full of screens at once, with basically no interruptions. And it's only getting faster. When I was their age, internet like this was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa.
Please go home.
The next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Now through July 30th, new customers can get 200 megabit per second internet on the next generation Xfinity 10G network for just $35 a month for 2 years. Plus, there's no annual contract required, and you get Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and devices. Actual speeds vary.
I really like our plumbers at Howald Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. They know their lines. They know water lines, drain lines, clog lines, pickup lines. Okay, maybe in their younger days. When I was a kid, there was a game show on TV called What's My Line? Our plumbers would have been world champions. Along with Howald Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing having the best plumbers around, they're also very nice, clean, and pleasant guys to have in your home. So the next time you have trouble in the kitchen, laundry, or bathroom, throw us a line at Howald Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, 255-HEAT, where you can trust your flush to us.
Have you ever dropped off your documents for shredding and wondered what happened to them? At QuickShred, documents are shred right in front of you at their retail location on East 62nd Street. No appointment needed and convenient curbside assistance is provided. No matter how big or how small, they shred it all. You leave knowing your confidential information has been completely destroyed. QuickShred is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 and Saturdays, 9 to 2. QuickShred at 62nd and Binford Boulevard. QuickShred.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-339-3838. 800-339-3838. That's 800-339-3838.
Coming up in 2 minutes, you've heard about severe storms, but the heat is also a problem you'll have to deal with. Purdue has its own pothole solution, and Harrison Silcox reports on a contract issue with one of the Colts' star players. Those stories and more next from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock, Fox News Radio in progress.
Hunter Biden is in court right now. I'm Dave Anthony, and the president's son's expected to admit he's guilty of tax crimes.
With, of course, Hunter's plea agreement to 2 misdemeanors of tax evasion and avoiding prosecution on the gun charge.
Fox's Griff Jenkins outside the court in Wilmington, Delaware, where there's some new drama in the case. The judge is trying to find out if Hunter Biden's lawyers attempted to have removed, which they deny, a brief filed by House Republican Jason Smith.
To insert the testimony of those whistleblowers. Here is what Congressman Smith writes in his amicus brief. The defendant appears to have benefited, that's Hunter Biden, from political interference. In the interest of full transparency and fairness for all citizens, it is critical for the court to have this relevant information when evaluating the plea agreement.
That interference and allegations President Biden denies of being involved in Hunter's business dealings have Republicans considering impeachment.
You have a president who told you and every other American that he's never talked to as a family about business and they never got $1 from China. You now know that's not true.
So House Speaker Kevin McCarthy adds,
should I ignore it? No.
Some Republicans also want to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over a record surge of illegal immigration. He'll testify at a House hearing this hour. Another House hearing about to start aims to get the truth about UFOs. Republican Congressman Tim Burchett tells the Fox News Rundown podcast,
we're not going to bring in a flying saucer or a little green man, but we literally have decorated veterans who are really just risking their whole careers.
2 former military pilots who had UFO close encounters will testify. So will an ex-intel officer who claims the government may have alien spacecraft and extraterrestrial remains. Breaking news out of Britain, Kevin Spacey found not guilty. A jury acquitted the Oscar-winning actor of all 9 sex crime charges stemming from 4 men's accusations. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They call it a weather killer. Radar's clear. It's mostly sunny and 80 degrees. I'm Donnie Burgess. Here's what's trending at 10:02. The heat index will jump well into the triple digits this week. Ryan Hedrick reports.
Heat is one of the biggest weather killers in the U.S.
We need to really pay attention to those who are particularly susceptible to heat, and that would be our infants and our elderly and, anybody who's without air conditioning.
Jason Puma of the National Weather Service urges Hoosiers to take it easy in the next couple of days.
Avoid doing those high stressful activities outside, such as gardening, yard work.
Heat advisories will be in effect for much of central Indiana on Thursday and Friday. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Pothole detection sensors are now built into the concrete and the new I-69 and 465 interchanges in Indianapolis. That technology comes from WaveLogix and Purdue University. You may remember when Jake West died at school last year from a heart condition he did not know he had until it was too late. With better technology may come the early discovery of those heart conditions, says Brandy Crum of Monrovia Schools.
So we have better screening tools, better education. So it's not surprising that we're catching, more of those.
Crum on Wish TV. $3.61 is your average price for gas today, says Gas Buddy. If you watch the Indianapolis Colts, you've probably heard the name Jonathan Taylor. Harrison Silcox reports the future of the team's best running back may not be with the Colts.
That's if he and the Colts front office can't reach a deal on a new contract.
We're not going to get into
what kind of contract negotiations we're getting into with any of our guys.
Colts general manager Chris Ballard on day one of training camp. Taylor's entering the final year of his rookie deal and wants a salary that he thinks reflects his value to the team. Ballard was non-committal Tuesday.
So we'll kind of let it play out as it does. And make those decisions when we need to make those decisions.
He said he planned on meeting with Taylor Tuesday, but if the Colts can't find a contract for their star running back, this season might also be a farewell. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And I'm Donnie Burgess on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt?
I owe the IRS $37,000.
Get ready for a toll-free hotline. Take advantage of new IRS tax forgiveness programs that may protect you from IRS collection agencies. They have the power to garnish your wages, put liens on your property, and levy your bank account. Civic Tax Relief can help protect you from the IRS.
Civic Tax Relief basically represented me against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, I didn't owe the IRS anything.
Find out about the Fresh Start program that is now available through Civic Tax Relief. Civic Tax Relief's special tax hotline can help you discover all the relief programs available for free.
I would recommend anyone who has a tax problem to contact Civic Tax Relief.
Just call 800-506-5803. 800-506-5803. Don't wait. Call now. 800-506-5803. 800-506-5803.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Lab Grown or Mined Diamond Store.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's here. Special guest in studio. He is the Republican nominee for mayor of the city of Indianapolis. Jefferson Shreve joins us now. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back in.
All right, so let's start with this public safety plan. And I'm curious from a very high level because there's a lot of great things that I think people universally agree on. There are obviously some things that people are upset about. But the whole plan, how do you put it together? Who did you consult with? Who did you reach out to? Who was a part of the process? How did you come up with your public safety plan as a collective?
Rob, I appreciate your framing it that way because there was a lot of thought and conversations, a lot of listening that went into putting the plan together. I became the nominee a couple months ago, and I moved around every township, talked with our citizens, business owners, talked with police leadership, talked with people in the faith community, came to appreciate how big a role the faith leaders play in all this. Some of the more moving parts of sort of forming these ideas and this plan came from conversations with mothers that had lost children, talked with people that served in the last administration, and people that know what worked in the past, what's not working today. You get to this sort of a plan by doing a hell of a lot of listening, pulling it together, thinking about it, trying to weave together something that's going to set our city on a course that is better than what it's on today. But one takeaway is that it's not. I don't have to reinvent the wheel here. There are things that have been time tested and proven that we did better and differently, not a lifetime ago, but a decade ago, that we just need to get back to. And so that's been a big part of it.
When you put the plan together, is there like 30 parts to it in the beginning and you whittle it down? Are there things that you throw in and then take out and put back in? How long did this process take to come up with a definitive, hey, here's our public safety plan, judge it as you will?
Yeah, it was about 2 months of focus on the public safety plan. Yes, thinned it down because people's attention span on some of the key elements is limited, but it's fluid in the sense that it's going to improve and get better because I'm continuing to listen and learn as we weave things in there. For example, the Weed and Seed program is something that I've learned more about since we rolled out the plan, and it was really successful going back 10, 20 years. And you'll see elements of the Weed and Seed plan incorporated into our public safety plan as we move forward. And you'd certainly see elements of it implemented in a Shreve administration. That's so focused at the community level, at the neighborhood level. And so these are some proven out tools that have worked. And so what you've got today is not cast in granite, because this candidate is listening and learning. I mean, I really am.
Okay, so Jefferson Shreve, our guest, he is the Republican nominee for mayor of Indianapolis. I want to get to the gun component because that's what everybody wants to talk about, and I'm sure you know that. But before we do that, you have decided one of the things you are adamant about is re-implementing the public safety director. That was taken away under Joe Hogsett. I think this is one of the parts of the plan that we can all agree on is a great idea. Why do you want to bring it back, and what has the harm been of not having a public safety director in the city of Indianapolis?
Well, the job of the mayor of Indianapolis is first and foremost to keep his or her city safe. It is the core function of a mayor. It's also the responsibility that we tax our citizens for more than anything else. I mean, the majority of our general fund is to provide public safety, police, fire, EMS, that sort of thing. Got to get it right. But it is a monster of a job in and of itself. And the mayor's job is complicated. Our city is a big, complicated organization between city and county government. And so I don't come from that background as a former cop or firefighter. I mean, I am what I am, which is a career business executive, not a career cop. And I need that expertise that wakes up 24/7, focused on metric-driven accountability for moving this city in the right direction. That person will be responsible to me as mayor, and I to the citizens every day. And every mayor prior to Joe Hogsett has had benefit of that executive public safety director. But Joe Hogsett campaigned on, and it's been true to his campaign, he's going to be his own public safety director. Well, that's maybe sounded good, but the results are in. I mean, we're 7.5 years, nearly 8 years in, and the results are in. And public safety in this city is not what it used to be and not what it needs to be. And so that's why I feel so strongly about that. So the success of an administration is a function of standing up and attracting talent around a mayor at the cabinet level, deputy mayor level. This is perhaps the most important hire that I got to make. And there's plenty of talent out there. It may be talent that comes from within our city or that has served in our city at some prior time. But I need that. I need someone that can give their 100% bandwidth so I can also give bandwidth to infrastructure and economic development and getting people to move into this city, lay their heads in Marion County so they pay taxes in Marion County. We've got to improve our transportation system, our IPS or education options, because those are the drivers that are going to determine whether or not people are going to continue to live in Marion County. Not just the donuts, but in Marion County.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob Casey's here. Jefferson Shreve, Republican candidate for mayor in Indianapolis, is our guest. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get to the thing that everybody's talking about, everybody wants to know about. It is Jefferson Shreve's proposal on guns, and we'll do a deep dive with that when we return. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. It's Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Hey, did you know 96% of Americans, Casey, 96% of Americans forfeit $111,000 in Social Security income? Did you know that?
Yeah, it's true.
And you could learn how you could avoid this with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy right here in Indy.
We trust Bill because we're clients of his and he knows Social Security like the back of his hand. This free analysis pinpoints exactly when you should file for Social Security while considering your taxes, spousal support, and Medicare premiums. And if you've saved at least $200,000 for retirement and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis by calling 317-932-9912.
Save yourself a ton of time and don't lose a single dime in Social Security income. Schedule your free analysis by calling 317-932-9912. That's 317-932-9912.
As the temperatures get higher,
heat index will get up to 105.
So do the number of presidential candidates.
Additional presidential candidates.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie.
I intend to seek the Republican nomination.
Former Vice President Pence.
I'm announcing I'm running for President of the United States.
All the cool kids are running this year.
Announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
How that could possibly happen.
What happens next?
We'll see what happens.
Happens here. 93 WIBC.
Hammer, I'm going to tell you something about Jay's Lobster and Fish Market there in the Garage Food Hall downtown in the Bottle Works district. I love their specialty lobster rolls, but I can't get enough of the lobster mac and cheese.
Have you had that lobster grilled cheese?
Oh, yeah, it's unbelievable. It's mouth-watering.
Also in the Bottle Works district, Garage Food Hall, Palavano Cubano. Biggest, best Cuban sandwich in Indy.
Yes.
It's the perfect destination if you love delicious food. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and July is National Carpet Cleaning Month, and for good reason. Did you know that your carpets are the largest air filter in your home and can hold 4 times their weight in dirt? Yuck! Vacuuming can help, but it just doesn't get to the majority of the dirt in those carpets. Zero Res can, and it does it with no soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, using their patented ZR water. They really get the dirt and stains as well as the allergens and irritants out for a lasting summer clean. And the techs are the best in the industry, trained in extraction techniques that just work to get your things really, really clean. With Zero Res, things just stay cleaner longer with a softer and fluffier feeling that you'll absolutely notice. Now mention WIBC and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $139, plus you'll get a free hallway and $50 off air duct cleaning too. That's right, air duct cleaning, and it'll help improve the air quality in your home and help to reduce your energy costs and just breathe easier. Call 388-5141 or schedule your appointment online at ZeroResIndy.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Anymore, you're just another voice on the radio.
WIBC, it is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's here. Special guest this hour, Jefferson Shreve, Republican candidate for mayor in the city of Indianapolis. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes of it. Let's get to the thing that so many people across central Indiana have been talking about, which is your proposal on gun reform. There are 3 major components that seem to have people upset about them. It is raising the age to buy a firearm to 21 years old. It is ending permitless carry in Marion County, and it is banning of assault weapons. I am curious why you honed in on those 3 things and said these are the 3 things we have to do to make Indianapolis safer.
They're driven by conversations with our police leadership. So I've campaigned in the primary, and I'll continue to campaign on being supportive of our police community. Look.
So the IMPD is telling you this is what you need to do to make Indianapolis safer.
This is a combination of all of those conversations that I talked about at the front end of this of our visit here in and around the 9 townships of Indianapolis. But even back in the primary, for example, I share with people my view that the repeal of permitless concealed carry was in this candidate's opinion a mistake. I'm not a legislator. I'm not running to represent Johnson County. I'm running to manage Indianapolis. And it's a different lens through which someone's got to look through and make decisions. But the repeal of permitless carry, as a for example, were I a member of the General Assembly and I heard Superintendent Doug Carter's testimony where he spoke vigorously in opposition to that, I would have been compelled by that testimony and I would have left that requirement in place. Kendall, I do not think the bar is too burdensome or too high to ask our citizens to file a permit to concealed carry a firearm on their person in the city. We did it for decades, and it makes the job of policing, on the margin at least, more dangerous. And I think that we should have left that in place. And so I support that. Our chief of the IMPD also gave testimony in opposition to that. What you're hearing from me is a man that's running for mayor on a platform in part of being supportive of our IMPD, which is a world apart from what we've had for the past 7.5 years with the man who leads the IMPD at the mayor's office level, because I'm convinced that they don't feel like they have his support.
Casey, go ahead.
Okay, I have a lot of questions, Jefferson, and I've noticed you did not bring Wendy's in today. Things got a little bit more serious, didn't they?
Yeah, this conversation wasn't going to be about dipping French fries in Frosties. I knew about that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk. I want to backtrack just for a second to the IMPD, and you have said that you want to put more police officers on the street. Where do you plan to get that budgeting from? Where are you going to move those resources from to hire more police officers?
Yeah, well, Casey, that's not a fiscal problem because those officer positions, those 300 additional positions that I keep messaging on, are fully funded and authorized today. It's been for lack of meeting those hiring challenges that we haven't done it. So I've got a little background, and people know that I've mostly made my living as in business. You guys kid me about infinite money and whatnot, and it didn't come from my $15,000 a year that I made on the city county council. It came from running an organization. But I did serve on council, a little stint on public safety. I served on the IMPD staffing commission, and we know that for a city of our size, with its geographic dispersion, we're over 400 square miles, that we should have X number of officers on our force. Our City County Council, through its budgeting process, has funded and authorized 1,853 officers today. We're 300 down. Joe Hogsett has fewer officers on the force today than he had when he came into office on day one. And he campaigned on bringing 150 more in than he had on day one. Well, he's not only not met that campaign promise, we are down. We need them. More officers in and of itself isn't a panacea, but it is the differential between a reactive crouch that our police department is left in and a proactive, community-facing engagement level.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
300 more officers enables our force to be in the communities. Do we ever see them walking a beat? Do you ever see officers walking Mass Avenue or Virginia Avenue? How many do we see on the bike patrol on the Monon? When we have downtown events, it's a rare sighting to see our mounted division. It doesn't need to be all squad cars and flashing lights on Fox 59 every morning because there's been another shooting event. We need to see them proactively out there in the communities. When I was on the City County Council, back in the Ballard years, we'd have officers that would turn up at our neighborhood meetings. They're there to listen. The engaged neighborhoods will share with the police what they're seeing, what they need to keep an eye on, where they need to step up patrols, so we can get ahead of some of this stuff.
Jefferson Shreve is joining us. Rob, do you want to?
Well, I was just going to say, I want to come back because I know we have limited time here. I want to definitely come back to the component of this that a lot of people want to talk about, and the people you got to kind of either win over or win back or whatever, which is the gun restrictions on this. And so I'm curious. A lot of people say, look, the Indiana General Assembly has already said no dice on permitless carry. They've clearly passed it. It is a thing. They've said no dice. We're not raising the age to 21. The Supreme Court has said you can't ban assault weapons. And a lot of people say, look, this is kind of comes off as pandering if none of the things can be accomplished. What do you say to those people? Why are those people wrong that you're not just pandering, that you're actually want to or going to try to do this?
Because I want to and am going to try and do this. It's hogwash to say it's pandering. It is pandering for Mayor Hogsett to come out 2 weeks after the General Assembly adjourns from their last long session and introduces something to the council that they're going to pass that has zero opportunity or chance of going into the force of law.
Well,
it is not pandering to say, okay, these are some elements, having listened to our policing community, that makes sense, that they feel strongly about, that I will support as a city's chief executive, and I will go through the due course of law in asking for these things. Okay. So the way you do that is you include it in your legislative priorities at the start of the session, and you take them before the members of our General Assembly. Look, it's up to them, and I understand the challenges and the headwind that will face this administration on that front. I have relationships because I served on the council with Aaron Freeman and Jack Sandlin. Mike Speedy served on the council. I mean, I get it. But I am going to, in due process, respectful of that relationship between the State House and the City County building, ask for these things that our IMPD are asking for.
Now, who on the state legislature has made you believe that they're going to support your plan?
No one from the state legislature has told me that they're going to do this, but I have had conversations before I rolled out this public safety plan. I met with all of our Republican members of the Marion County delegation to give them a heads up. And then after I rolled it out, guys like Freeman and I back and forth. He doesn't agree with me. I get that. I respect Aaron Freeman. Jack Sandlin, who's a former IMPD cop, I understand where he stands. Here's the difference, though. We're going to communicate. We will negotiate. We will move the needle down because we are commonly interested in advancing public safety in Indianapolis, and part and parcel with that is being supportive of our IMPD.
I get that. I understand you're talking about the policing community, but this is a state law that you're talking about changing. And I'm wondering, you have mentioned that you would advocate as the mayor of Indianapolis to change that law. And I'm wondering, are you talking to other mayors or potential mayors of South Bend, Evansville, Fort Wayne, Gary? Are you all on the same page? Because one person advocating is different than a group advocating. And who in the legislature has told you that they are willing to change the state law?
Casey, I've not been liaising with the mayoral leadership in cities in and around Indiana. I'm running to lead this city, and I'm asking the General Assembly and others for accommodation specific to the challenges of our state's only first-class city with some acute urban challenges. Broad Ripple isn't Bargersville, and Hallville isn't Eltonville. And so, there are some tools and accommodations that I am going to argue for that I think are specific to the challenges that we have right here at home. And, Zionsville's a world apart. A guy, Relford, whom I don't know personally, but I certainly respect, lives up in Zionsville. My sister lives in Zionsville. The challenges of public safety in Zionsville are a world apart from other parts of this city. And as a mayoral candidate, I tell you what, I have been in parts of this city that are just so different in terms of what folks have to contend with as they send their kids out the front door every day.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob Casey's here. Jefferson Shreve, the Republican candidate for the mayor of the city of Indianapolis, our special guest this hour. We're talking about his controversial gun proposal. We're talking about his public safety plan, and we will continue to get into all of the juicy details and controversy on the gun proposal. Jefferson with us. He's taking the questions. He's answering them. Got to give him credit for that. A lot more on this conversation when we return. It's Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
If you used to hear a whole lot of this, but now you can barely hear this, you need to check out RelayIndiana.com and CapTel, the caption telephone. CapTel allows you to get your groove back when using the telephone. It uses voice recognition technology so you can read on a bright screen what the other caller is saying. Go to RelayIndiana.com and add clarity back into your conversations with CapTel, the caption telephone from Relay Indiana. Visit RelayIndiana.com now.
Pigs do fly at the Indiana Pork Tents at the Indiana State Fair. Stop by any of the tent locations during the Indiana State Fair, July 28th through August 20th, to try this year's signature food, delicious barbecue pig wings. You can always check out the super popular pork burger, pulled pork sandwich, a new 12-ounce pork chop, and a boneless pork loin sandwich too. Look for the Indiana Pork Tents near Pioneer Village, West Pavilion, and the new Fall Creek Pavilion. Learn more at indianapork.com.
Meet Edwina. She loves summers in Indy, but hates to paint year after year, so she called Rhino Shield.
So over the years, I had to touch up the house. I just got to the point where I couldn't spend any more money on the outside of the house. And when I saw Rhino Shield, I thought that was the answer to my problem.
And Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
I'd had painters here before, and it was usually quite a disaster with them leaving their equipment here and picking up things in the yard. But Rhino Shield was right on it.
Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 10% off the regular price.
The gentleman said, if you're interested, give me a call. And I said, honestly, can you come tomorrow?
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's up?
I'm tired of feeling so bloated.
That used to be me. Then I got this.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion. A probiotic, right?
Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Learn more at alignprobiotics.com.
Hey, it's Casey. Have you noticed the concrete around your house? I'm talking about maybe in the garage, the pool deck, the driveway, even the porch or patio, looking a little gray and dull. Do you know that Galaxy Concrete Coating can make it so much better? They'll lay down this coating 4 times stronger than epoxy, dries really fast, has a strong hold, the color's not going to fade, and it's easy to clean. Oh, and by the way, it looks great too. Call them in Fishers, 317-751-9070. Get yourself a free quote. By the way, Galaxy Concrete Coating, not as expensive as you might think. They're online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com. They're taking concrete out of this world.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Life is a collection of moments that last forever, so make them matter and make them count with that symbol of everlasting love. A diamond from Pierce Jewelers. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
Discover how to save more of your hard-earned money. Listen to WIBC this Saturday from 5 to 6 a.m. for secure retirement tips from Crown Haven Wealth Advisors. This Saturday, 5 to 6 a.m. on WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He says his plan is in good faith. It's 80 degrees and sunny. I'm Donnie Burgess. Here's what's trending at 10:30. When Republican candidate for Indianapolis Mayor Jefferson Shreve came up with his plan to reduce crime in Indy, he said he listened to people all over central Indiana.
I moved around every township, talked with our citizens, business owners, talked with police leadership, talked with people in the faith community.
Shreve tells WIBC's Kendall Casey he's simply asking the General Assembly to consider his gun control proposals because Indianapolis has what he calls unique challenges. Severe weather is possible today, says forecaster Jason Puma.
We will have a thunderstorm threat in central Indiana today. Again, the best threat for that will really be during the afternoon and into the evening hours.
Highs are in the 90s today. Water could be seen all over the floor at Whiteland Elementary School this morning.
And that's why school was canceled for the day. I'm Sean Herrick. It was supposed to be the first day of school for students there, but there was rain overnight, and the school's already been trying to repair the roof, which didn't make for a good combination, said Rick Hightower, communications director for Clark Pleasant School Corporation. They hope to have the school open on Thursday. Sean Herrick, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
And I'm Donnie Burgess, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
I was raised on the radio. Raised on the radio. Just an all-American
93 WIBC, it is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's here. Special guest this hour, Jefferson Shreve. He is the Republican candidate for the mayor of Indianapolis, spending a lot of time with us this hour, talking about his public safety proposal, specifically about his proposal on guns. It has a lot of people, a lot of conservatives, a lot of listeners to this radio station very upset. Jefferson taking the time to answer all the questions on that. So there's a lot of people, Jefferson, I'm sure you know this, that are looking at the gun side of it. And they're saying, look, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I've never done anything wrong. It seems like I'm being targeted rather than the people who are actually committing the crimes. Is it your belief that if you institute these plans that the criminals are just going to say, well, I can't get one until I'm 21. I guess I'm done here. Or if there is assault weapons ban in Marion County, so I guess I better not bring this here. Do you understand why some people are going, this is kind of doesn't compute, that you think the criminals are just going to abide by the law when they're criminals? How do you address those people?
Yep, sure, I agree. That would seem naive. I don't believe that's the case. I can't tell you how many folks I've talked to in other parts of this city that have 14 and 15-year-old kids walking around with handguns in their pockets or the backpacks. I mean, it's just way too many, and that prevalence has led to violence because you have young people that aren't nearly responsible enough for the great responsibility that goes along with possessing a handgun. Just like the great responsibility
if they're not afraid of a shootout or going to prison, why would they be afraid of a fine that they may not be accountable to pay?
Yeah, I think you're asking, if they're going to break the law to shoot somebody, why would they be worried about being arrested potentially for illegally owning a firearm? I think that's where people.
Well, Rob, they need to be afraid. I mean, there need to be consequences for this, and we've gotten so soft on crime and these consequences, and on solving these shootings. One point I made on my roll last Thursday is that the solve rate on homicides has fallen from a high of 81% down to the low 30s today. We need to get the illegal guns and the violent offenders off of our streets. We need to prosecute them and keep them off the streets. But the consequences have become so inconsequential today that you've got an odds-on favorite of gunning someone down in Indianapolis and not getting picked up, not being identified, not getting picked up. In Ballard's second term, I think it was Bill Benjamin, who is Deputy Chief of Investigations, had that solve rate up to 81%. We're down in the 30s. It is unacceptable. Part of the reason that it's fallen is because the most talented police officers in the investigations of the Detective Corps, they're the most are the veterans, and that's where we're bleeding that talent. So, yep, Hogsett may run an ad about hiring 700 cops, but look at where we are on net. We're losing our talented, experienced veterans that can up that solve rate so we can pull those young, violent offenders off the street, and the system has to work. The court system and the prosecutorial system needs to work. Public safety is an ecosystem. The mayor doesn't control all of it, but the mayor's got the bully pulpit. Mm-hmm. I will be, whether it's from the city-county building or if elected from this studio, I will be on message about, ladies and gentlemen, our prosecutor has a responsibility to us to move these people along so we get them off the street. Why do our police check out? Because they if they make an arrest on someone that commits some violence, they take them through the arrestee processing unit, they bond out. I mean, in short order, heck, sometimes before they're finished with their processing paperwork, they're back out in the streets.
Jefferson,
it's a broken system.
Jefferson, are you worried that, like I said, I think 80% of your plan is great, and clearly I disagree with you on the gun thing. Are you worried that the 80% that's great is getting totally overlooked because of this 20% that people are, let's face it, there's a lot of people who are not just upset, they're livid over it. Are you worried that the good stuff is getting drowned out because of this one portion of the plan?
Sure. I'm running for office. I need support. Your listeners are supporters by and large. I need them. I need support from beyond your listenership. I'm running to represent and manage this city. So I am not indifferent to how people view and respond to policy positions that I'm articulating as a candidate. I am eager to move beyond public safety alone because there are so many other challenges that face Indianapolis that I think I've got some damn good ideas about that I want to articulate because we can be a great city again. But yes, Rob, I do care. And not just because it's political pandering, but one, I really am listening. I really do want to craft good policy and implement it, execute it. I want people to support, affirm, and buy into what I'm selling. If they don't, they're going to have another 4 years of Joe Hogsett. I am not the almighty. I have not been mayor before. So don't compare me to the almighty. I am the alternative.
Jefferson Shreve is with us. You had mentioned prosecutor moments ago, and I wanted to ask you, there seems to be a great inability to keep the repeat offenders incarcerated. What is your plan to work with Ryan Mears? I mean, he has been reelected. You're going to, if you win the job of mayor of Indy, you're going to be put in the position to work with him. So what is your plan to do that?
I will have to, because he's going to have 3 more years in his independently elected office. And I'll take an honest run at trying to reason with him and get on the same page and influence. Well, I appreciate that. It's going to take some luck. It's going to take some relationship building, just as it will take relationship building with members of the General Assembly, just as it will take relationship building with the mayoral leadership in the donut counties, just as it will take relationship building with members of our city county council, of which is likely to remain a Democrat majority. I mean, yes, a mayor has to invest a lot of time in building relationships. I will certainly invest in that relationship with Prosecutor Mears. Look, he and I probably aren't a world apart in age, and do we truly not want Indianapolis to be a better, safer, more livable city? It's hard to imagine that we are that far apart in that view, but he's got to do the job that he was elected to do. All right, and I will exert private and public pressure on the gentleman to get there.
All right, I want to get you out of here with this. And let me first of all say this. You are here answering these questions. Joe Hogsett would absolutely never 100% ever do that. And so we owe you a big thank you for coming in here.
You deserve a lot of credit for coming in here, because you have been under, I believe, a firestorm over the past couple weeks.
Not just in studio, but I mean, I've been before veterans groups yesterday and last Friday. I've been at Perry GOP events. I've been door to door in Decatur Township. I understand that not everyone agrees with my position on plank 3B of a deep 7-level public safety plan.
Well, yeah,
that's my job. So you know what? I signed up for this.
I want to get you out of here with this, because I think this is the most important thing we're going to ask you, because I've said this and I still stand behind this. The city cannot afford 4 more years of Joe Hogsett. And that means there is no libertarian running. You got to win, because the city will not exist as it exists today with 4 more years of Mears and Hogsett. What do you say to people like Jason Hammer, who are Indy lifers, who are really upset right now, who really want to support you, who really wanted to be a cheerleader for you, but are really, really hurt about the gun component of this plan? What is your message to them? How do you win them back? How do you get them to say, okay, Shreve is still our guy?
Jason, don't write me off. Don't tune me out. Keep listening. Keep pushing. Keep challenging my assumptions and my thinking and my policy. Feedback. I will get better as I hear from more and more people, and as I put this together. I'm a thoughtful guy that is listening and doing my damn best to articulate policy that will be actionable toward making Indianapolis better. I've got 13 weeks to continue to articulate and make this case, and please stay with me as I head down this course, because I want to make this city that we share better than it has been under a Joe Hogsett administration.
Man, and all you can do is ask for transparency, and you've done it, Jefferson. We appreciate it, and we look. Casey, you can agree on this too. I'm sure you will. We get on politicians all the time about running and about not coming on here and not answering the questions. And I'd like for the record to point out you're still in one piece.
Yes.
You've not at any point been held against your will.
There have been no tears in the studio this morning.
And so we do. We say thanks, and you're welcome back here anytime. And we love the transparency, even when we disagree. And thanks for being with us today.
Thank you guys so much.
It's Kendall Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
I don't want to go to bed at night dreading waking up in the morning knowing that I'm going to feel like a rusty lawn chair getting out of bed and getting opened up and not being able to really move for a couple hours really throughout the day.
For former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter and those dealing with daily aches and pains, QC Kinetics regenerative pain treatments are a game changer, providing long-lasting relief.
Go into a specific joint, a specific region, and then help promote that healing process using your own body's mechanisms to heal. I mean, that's been something that's pretty powerful, and there's no surgery, there's no downtime.
QC Kinetics natural treatments help the body heal and restore itself. No more rusty lawn chair.
It's no surprise to see people being willing to try this first, especially when it has such great results.
Pain relief the natural way. QC Kinetics. Call today for your complimentary consultation. Find out if you're a good candidate for treatment.
Call QC Kinetics 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
The Indiana State Fair, where you can get a taste, step back in time, ride to your heart's content, sing along, and of course see the animals up close and personal. Save big with discount tickets available now at IndianaStateFair.com through July 27th. Your Indiana State Fair, celebrating the state that grew the game. Presented by Pacers Sports and Entertainment. July 28th through August 20th. Closed Mondays and Tuesdays. So much fun, you won't want to be done.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-646-7049 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-646-7049. That's 800-646-7049. What do you have to lose? Call 800-646-7049. Again, 800-646-7049.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt?
I owe the IRS $37,000.
Get ready for a toll-free hotline. Take advantage of new IRS tax forgiveness programs that may protect you from IRS collection agencies. They have the power to garnish your wages, put liens on your property, and levy your bank account. Civic Tax Relief can help protect you from the IRS.
Civic Tax Relief basically represented me against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, I didn't owe the IRS anything.
Find out about the Fresh Start program that is now available through Civic Tax Relief. Civic Tax Relief's special tax hotline can help you discover all the relief programs available for free.
I would recommend anyone who has a tax problem to contact Civic Tax Relief.
Just call 800-506-5803. 800-506-5803. Don't wait. Call now. 800-506-5803. 800-506-5803.
Make a fast break to the Indiana State Fair Free Stage Friday, August 4th for the Styx Concert and Beer Sample Friday with Hammer and Nigel, who will broadcast their show live. This year's fair celebrates the state that grew the game of basketball. Presented by Pacers Sports and Entertainment.
Good morning. It is 10:46. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. That's Rob Kendall. He's on Twitter at Rob M. Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. I'm there as well. Casey Daniels 317. And I don't know about you, Rob, but after that interview with Jefferson Shreve, my Twitter is blowing up. A lot of people with a lot of thoughts and comments.
Okay, so let's get a couple things out here. Number one, and I'll say it again, the guy deserves credit for coming in and answering the questions.
Yep.
Most of these people down the street from us at 200 West Washington would never have the guts to do that. Joe Hogsett wouldn't have the guts to do it. So whether you disagree with the guy or not, he gets a star for manning up and coming in here. The second thing is, and you see people, well, why didn't you press him more on this? Or why didn't you go into more on that? We only have so much time. And when you're talking about a public safety plan, you've got a whole bunch of things you want to get into, and you don't have time.
Yeah.
If you go down the rabbit hole of, well, you should have grilled him more on this, or you should have that. We don't have a 3-hour show to do an interview with the guy. Yes, if you've got some long-form 3-hour interview, yes. My goal with this was let the guy say his piece. We're going to ask as many questions related to the topics at hand as we can, and then I believe in you, the listener, are smart enough to come to the right conclusions based on the answers that you were given. If we start grilling down and following up, we get to two things. Well, there's way more parts to this than two things. So you're trying to serve vanilla ice cream here, where you have X amount of time and you want to get to as many things as you can because you have the right to, I believe you can form your own opinion based on the answers that were given. And I thought, based on that interview we did, that people now can come to a much better conclusion, having a lot more information than they did an hour ago.
Yeah. You had mentioned questions. I know that I had written down about 11 or 12 different questions. I think I got to maybe 2, 3 of them.
Sure.
One thing that struck me is that he mentioned he's listening and he's learning, and it's, I call it OTJT. On the job training.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not sure if that is something that Indianapolis can afford right now, someone who is learning while they go. We saw that with Becky Cash. I did want to ask him if this was more political or personal for him, because it definitely feels like he's trying to move some moderate Democrats to his side, and that's what he's going to need to win. The question is, did he move too far? Did he swing too far? And now he has lost his base.
Well, here's the thing you know about it now. And I think this is ridiculous, but I will give him credit for being honest about it. He, at least according to him, genuinely believes in the gun plan. Like there was a big part of me that thought, okay, he's box checking. And when it initially came out with it, I'll try to tuck this away. And then that way, if Hogsett runs an ad against me, I can say, nuh-uh, I'm for this too. No, he believes it, at least according to him. The assault weapons ban, the raising the age to 21 years old, all the components, the getting rid of permitless carry, all of these components, he's genuine in, which is why he's running them in TV ads. So while I think that's going to further alienate him from people that may listen to this radio station, at least he was very clear. You know he believes this. You know he's not going to just ignore this if he becomes mayor. He is actually going to go to the State House and fight for this, and you can do with that information whatever you want. Our job was to get the information. You got more information in 1 hour than you've had in the previous 2 weeks. You, the audience, are smart enough to do with that what you want. And I'm not sure, based on the comments we received, that he's won a lot of people back. But that's not our job. Our job is not to win votes for people here. Our job is to get you the information, and now you have it.
I tried to nail him down a few times about the state legislature because it's a state law that he's talking about trying to change. And he did not mention anybody in the legislature that is supporting his plan. And I'm really afraid that at the end of the day, after the election, we see what happens, that he would use that as a scapegoat. I tried my best. I couldn't make it happen. State legislature wasn't on my side.
Here's one thing I still don't think he has an answer for, and maybe there is no answer, which is, and if you look at the comments on social media and you look at the comments on YouTube and you look at, various other platforms, how do you win back the Hammers of the world, and we're using Hammer because he's obviously a personality and someone who's been very passionate about this. But there's a lot of people who aren't personalities who are very passionate about it, who are still feel alienated. I don't think he had a good answer for that. The problem is, if his thing is I'm listening and evolving, well, you're running it in television ads. Mm-hmm. It's not a part. You're making it a main part. Like it's in the television ad itself. You are telling people, please look at this. Please know about this. You're not box checking. So I don't know how it doesn't sound like he's evolving on this issue. It sounds like there's other things he's open to evolving on, but I'm not sure this interview today, while it provided some good clarification, and again, credit for that, being honest, I don't think it won the people back that have been offended.
Disenfranchised.
Here is, because I was thinking to myself while we were doing the interview, okay, if I were the candidate, now obviously I would not have this proposal as a part of my plan, but if I were the candidate, how would you be able to negate the anger about this component of the plan? And I would pull a page out of Trump, which is in the CNN interview when he got asked about Ukraine.
He said, I want people to stop dying.
Yeah, and people were like, oh, boy, that's how brilliant of him. But what a loving, caring guy. I would use, if you were going to go to the mat on this gun proposal, some sort of emotional argument. While, again, it's not going to appease everyone, at least then you could come back with and go, what, you don't want people to stop dying? And, of course, the argument, well, that's not how you make people stop dying. But at least, like, you're coming at it from, it doesn't work when you espouse it out loud. And I keep coming back to, there's so many good things in his proposal. I wish he had just not had this gun thing in, so we could have spent the whole interview talking about all the other things, because the guy does have some really good ideas.
The public safety director is a need, and it is something that Abdul also ran on as well. Abdul said that he would do that, and I think that that is one area that sets him apart from Hogsett. Many people have been saying this is Hogsett Light, this is Hogsett 2.0, and I wanted to ask him why his plan was better than Hogsett's, and the only difference that I can find is that public safety director, because as Jefferson Shreve pointed out, Hogsett came in and said, no, we don't need that. I'm going to be the public safety director. And clearly he is failing in that role.
Okay. And I know they listen and they can take this advice or not. You need to do something to throw a bone, for lack of a better term, to the people who are really angry at you. And I'm going to just throw this out there. And if they use it, great. And if they don't, great. It's fine. I've given many ideas before that don't get used and candidates don't win. You need to run an ad challenging Joe Hogsett on where he was during the riots. That is the thing that I think, because everybody knows where he was. You need to say the thing that everybody knows that no one will say. The mayor disappeared during the riots. Everybody knows why. And if you want to win these people back, you need something that would get those people to go, yeah, somebody finally said it. And that is his opportunity, and he has the money to run the ads to be able to do that. And it's a relevant ad anyway, because no one still knows where the mayor of Indianapolis was during the riots of 2020. It's a relevant ad. It is an ad that would resonate with people, and it might be the one thing you could do to win back the people who you have alienated on the gun issue.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and coming up in just a bit, hey, something nice and pleasant, your chance to win tickets to the Indiana State Fair. It's coming up on 93 WIBC. Thank you for listening.
Up a clear blue sky, and the tears that I cried for that woman are gonna flood you, big river.
Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $139 in a free hallway and $50 off air duct cleaning with Zero Res. 388-5141. Online at ZeroResIndy.com.
Hey, Jeff Chapman here. Lordy, I can't believe Chapman turns 40. Since 1983. Heck, I was still in my disco days back then. You know, staying alive. If your AC's having trouble staying alive, call the man for all seasons. Chapman Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Drains. ChapmanHeating.com.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative planning, a richer way to wealth.
At Diamonds Direct, we want to make something very clear. We will absolutely beat the price of any comparable diamond that you find anywhere else. No fine print, no disclaimers, just a rock-solid, unqualified, nationwide price guarantee. And this goes for 1-carat diamonds as well as 15 and 20-carat diamonds. You see, at Diamonds Direct, we're more than just another jewelry store. We're part of a world diamond powerhouse with direct access to the world's top diamond mines. We have our own diamond cutters too, so we are active in every aspect of the diamond market every single day, from source to showroom. So when you see a diamond somewhere else, online or in a store, or from some so-called supplier, just know that apples for apples, you will get a better price at Diamonds Direct. Our volume, our connections, our buying power make this possible, and it's why we've never ever lost a sale due to price. So at a time when value means so much, we invite you to take this challenge and let us prove it. Day in and day out, you will always get a better quality diamond at a better price at Diamonds Direct. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Online at diamondsdirect.com.
Rob, I have a question for you.
Yes, Casey.
Did you know that our national debt is now more than $32 trillion?
I do know that because, well, we talk about it every single day on our show.
Yeah, and you know what the government's going to do next? They're going to keep spending trillions of dollars they don't have. And then they're going to turn right around and make you pay for it by raising your taxes.
Hey, it's Kendall and Casey. You know, you don't have to just sit there and take it. Discover how you could dramatically reduce your taxes in retirement with a free tax reduction analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy right here in Indy. If you've saved at least $200,000, schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-932-9912.
If you take advantage of some simple tax planning strategies now, you could save a bundle in taxes when you retire. Call 317-932-9912. That's 317-932-9912.
Dreaming about the freedom of the open road? Your local Tire Barn warehouse is now a full-service location, offering high-quality Valvoline oil changes. Your vehicle will be ready for any adventure, whether it's a road trip or a day at the beach. All Valvoline oil changes include a free courtesy inspection of your vehicle's fluid levels, battery, brakes, steering and suspension, tire tread depth, and pressure. Tire Barn is now offering appointment-free Valvoline oil changes. Whatever your dreams are this summer, Tire Barn Warehouse is here to drive them. See store for details. Some restrictions apply.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, storms and heat are a dangerous combination, and the National Weather Service has what you need to know. That story and more next from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. Hunter Biden is in federal court in Delaware. I'm Dave Anthony, and here's what the president's son is expected to do.
Plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor counts of failing to pay income tax. He's also reached an agreement with prosecutors to enter a diversion program for owning a firearm while also a drug user. We don't expect him to be sentenced today, but the deal between prosecutors and Hunter's legal team makes it unlikely he's ever going to serve any jail time.
Fox's Mark Meredith. Republicans call that a sweetheart deal and want the judge overseeing the plea agreement to consider IRS whistleblower allegations of political interference in the investigation benefiting Hunter Biden. In court in London, Kevin Spacey's been acquitted. A jury found the Oscar-winning actor not guilty of 9 sex crimes stemming from accusations by 4 men. Spacey had testified allegations in Britain and in the U.S. led to a rush to judgment, and he lost his reputation and put him mostly out of work. The head of Homeland Security is at a House hearing. Alejandro Mayorkas just testified.
Our approach to managing the borders securely and humanely, even within our fundamentally broken immigration system, is working.
Republicans, like Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, disagree.
Instead of building off the previous administration's success, this administration has abandoned any semblance of border security and immigration enforcement. And Americans are paying the price, and they demand accountability.
Some want to impeach Mayorkas. Another House hearing right now aims to get to the truth about UFOs, or as they're called these days, unidentified anomalous phenomena.
As we convene here, UAP are in our airspace, but they are grossly underreported. These sightings are not rare or isolated, they are routine. Military aircrew and commercial pilots, trained observers whose lives depend on accurate identification, are frequently witnessing these phenomena.
Ryan Graves and another military pilot, former, are testifying about those close encounters. An ex-intel officer is also at the hearing. He claims the government may have alien spacecraft and remains in secret storage. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
It's going to feel much hotter. Radar's clear. It's 82 and sunny downtown. I'm Donnie Burgess. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Highs are in the 90s this week, but it might feel like 100 degrees.
On Thursday and Friday, we've issued a heat advisory for much of central Indiana, including the Indianapolis metro.
Forecaster Jason Puma says you want to be ready for severe weather today and storms through Sunday. It was supposed to be the first day of school at Whiteland Elementary, but it was canceled. The school is still going through roof repairs, and last night's rain did not help. Republican Jefferson Shreve is running for mayor of Indianapolis. His gun control plan is almost identical to Democrat Mayor Joe Hogsett's plan. Shreve tells WIBC's Kendall Casey he just wants the opportunity to present his plan to the state.
Now, who on the state legislature has made you believe that they're going to support your plan?
No one from the state legislature has told me that they're going to do this.
Shreve says his plan is based on conversations with police and the community. $3.61 is your average price for gas today, says Gas Buddy. It's $3.75 throughout most of central Indiana. Indianapolis Colts running back Jonathan Taylor wants a new contract. Harrison Silcox reports that contract could be signed in a different city.
Taylor has 1 year left on a rookie contract that would pay him just over $4 million, but he thinks he deserves more. The 24-year-old already has almost 4,000 rushing yards and over 30 rushing touchdowns, giving him a leg up in negotiations. But Taylor's general manager is non-committal.
You pay good players. You pay guys that are going to help you win, regardless of the position. We think very highly of Jonathan.
Chris Ballard on the first day of training camp Tuesday. He said they'll let the situation play out, which doesn't say much about where the running back's future lies. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And I'm Donnie Burgess, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Have you noticed this summer is much drier than usual? These abnormally dry conditions will lead to drought. The lack of rainwater and reduced moisture in the soil can damage your home, specifically its foundation, due to the soil's expansion and shrinkage. Indiana Foundation Service experts are here to help. If you've noticed your home has cracked bricks, basement floor or concrete cracks, floor and wall gaps, bowed basement walls, or cracked chimneys, these problems will only get worse during a drought. That's why you need Indiana Foundation Service to come out and identify the problem and provide a foundation solution. Visit IndianaFoundation.com today to book your free inspection with a no-obligation quote included. That's IndianaFoundation.com. Indiana Foundation Service is ready to take care of you during wet season or dry season. There's a reason they're the trusted local experts.
Indiana Foundation Service, reliability from the ground up.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Diamond Engagement Ring Store.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 26th. It is 5 minutes after 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Thank you for joining us today. You can find him on Twitter at Rob M. Kendall. You can find me there, Casey Daniels 317. All right, let's talk long shots, shall we? Some people are thinking maybe Jefferson Shreve at this point is a long shot for mayor of Indianapolis. But let's go to the big national scale, and we're talking about Doug Burgum. Who? Doug who? Burgum?
Look, here's the thing, Casey, and we talked about this yesterday. I've gone back and forth on this, where this is either the most skeezy thing in the history of politics or it's the most brilliant. And since it is inside the confines of both the Republican Party rules and apparently election law in this country, I'm going to go with brilliant because this no-name guy has wormed his way onto the debate stage, and I'm going to go with brilliant.
Okay, so Doug Burgum, he made the GOP debate stage after he offered $20 gift vouchers for a $1 donation. So they have to have 50,000 donors giving minimally $1.
I think it's 40,000. 40,000 donors
Okay.
collectively. Right, yeah.
He got 50, so he passed the
Yeah.
mark.
Well, yeah, if somebody's going to give you $19 for doing nothing, I mean, so Kloppenstein was in for you on Friday, and Kloppenstein said he did this, and they just sent you an electronic Visa gift card.
Oh, he did it.
Oh, yeah. He wanted $19. I really think we missed out. They probably have canceled this now that he's made the debate stage.
Right.
But
It's
I
no
thought it was
longer available.
Well, I thought it was going to be some big complex thing. Plus, the guy, what if he turns out to be a communist or something? I don't want to be on record as having given him money. But yeah, I mean, so the way this was set up, if you're not aware, Doug Burgum is the governor of North Dakota.
Yeah.
And he is a super wealthy individual. And what he decided to do, because you have to have 40,000 individual donors, which Mike Pence, I guess, is still not done, which is amazing, to make the debate stage. And you have to poll a certain number in a verified approved poll. He did that. He got 3% in one poll. So to meet the 40% threshold or 40,000 donor threshold, he offered you a $20 Visa gift card if you gave him $1.
Yeah.
So basically, if you do the math, you would make $19 by giving this guy $1, and it cost him $800,000 to, if you 20 times 40,000 is $800,000, and he will now qualify for the Republican debate stage.
Talk about buying your way in. He called it the Biden Economic Relief Card. So not only was he getting the required amount of donors, he was getting a nice jab in at the Biden administration.
Look, if the guy's not breaking the law, the rules are the rules. The rules are in place for a reason. If the guy is operating inside the Republican Party rules and the law of this land on election donations, then good. He's great. He's brilliant. And I've not heard one person, Casey, either his opponents or a media outlet, say he's not in compliance with the law. So we're done here. This is brilliant.
Well, the Republican National Committee has now said they're not sure whether they're going to take the morning consult poll into account.
Oh, of course.
And let him be on the debate stage.
Of course, right? And this is why I hate the Republicans. I hate the Republicans because this is what they do. When somebody finds
workaround
in their system, not doing anything illegal, unethical, nothing. You know what this reminds me of? This was several years ago when Rickers figured out, the gas station convenience store, figured out a flaw in the law that the legislature had written that would allow them to legally sell cold beer. So there was some food component to it, and Rickers figured out if they did these three things that they could legally sell cold beer. Nothing unethical, nothing illegal, nothing immoral, nothing you couldn't look somebody in the eye and go, I am following the letter of the law. And what the response from the General Assembly, David Long and Brian Bosma, who were Speaker of the House and Pro Tem of the Senate at the time, practically, I was very worried that a quadricep or hamstring or patella tendon was going to be ruptured on how fast they sprinted to the nearest podium and said, we're going to do something to fix this, to stop this. Like, you wrote the law. You write the law to keep the undesirables out, whether it's alcohol policy in this state or candidacy, running for president. Guy, because he's smarter than you, figures out the loophole in the little scheme that you had put forward, and now your response is, well, we're not sure we're going to honor the scheme that we had put forward because this guy figured out how to defeat the scheme that we had put forward.
So you're right. Both Pence and Asa Hutchinson have hit the polling threshold, but neither of them have made the 40,000 donor requirement at this point.
Just because I know it's angering the Republicans, I might start supporting this guy now. Just because I know how mad it's going to make the Republicans if this guy's involved.
Well, he's one of many who's down in that 3% range. You've got Asa, and you've got Tim Scott and Chris Christie and Nikki Haley and Doug Burgum. But then you've got Tim Scott and Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. Boy, this field, it's so big, it's hard to keep track of who is where.
How embarrassing if you're Mike Pence that Doug Burgum is doing better than you.
He has the donors.
Doug, I mean, by every tangible standard, I mean, I guess you could dispute the polling. I don't know, but I saw a poll yesterday. We talked about it on the air where Mike Pence is at 2% in some poll. Well, Burgum got 3 in a poll. Doug Burgum is beating Mike Pence.
Well, how embarrassing is it for someone like Ron DeSantis, though, who was in the low 30s and is now in the teens? So which is worse? The guy who's not going up at all ever, or the guy who was up and is now plummeting down?
Here's what I know, is that Ron DeSantis will be at the debate. Mike Pence
Questionable.
No, we don't know.
Maybe. We'll see.
You know, look, if you wanted to get me something for Christmas this year and you said, Rob, I'm going to do some early Christmas shopping for you.
I got you the Rush Limbaugh book
You
last year.
did, and it was fabulous. However, this year, something that might be even more fabulous is Mike Pence missing the first presidential debate.
Well,
I can't think of. There are a few things that would bring me more joy than Mike Pence failing to. How pathetic, Casey! You're the former vice president, and you can't get 40,000 people to give you $1.
Right.
$1.
Yeah.
4 quarters, 100 pennies, 10 dimes, 2 half dollars, half a $2 bill.
It is 12 minutes after 11. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Let's talk about what's going on in the great state of Indiana. The number of Hoosiers who lost Medicaid coverage due to the unwinding of the COVID-19 protections has decreased since June. That number has gone down.
Okay, so let's, real quick, our goal here, we do two things, Casey. We educate and we inform, and we believe if we do both of those things well, that you will ultimately come down very near the same opinions that we have. And there is a difference between Medicare and Medicaid. Medicare is something predominantly, overwhelmingly for people of a certain age, a medical insurance program for people of a certain age or senior citizens. You pay into that as a taxpayer your whole life. If you look on the back of your check, not that anybody looks at the back of their check anymore. Medicaid is a government freebie assistance program given to people who, air quote, qualify. And it is predominantly because there are many, many people who are able-bodied people who otherwise could work will choose not to work because they get the freebie insurance giveaway. Now, what Obamacare was a massive Medicaid expansion. That's ultimately really what Obamacare was getting you off private insurance and onto government-funded insurance paid for by someone else with all sorts of government restrictions and regulations. When COVID happened, what the government did was say, and this is part of when I rage about Trump, this is part of what Trump funded with the magical money printing factory, was they went to the states and said, hey, state, in exchange for shutting down, we recognize that if people lose their jobs, they may lose their insurance. So what we are going to do is offer one-time opportunities for if your state is under, and this is a big word, emergency declaration, and you do certain things that we're required, it's like every other federal government, air quote, giveaway. You will do what we tell you to do, and in exchange for that, we will give you, air quote, free money. So what Lockdown McGee did, it enabled him and Dr. Bach's gynecologist to put their big power pants on, and they not only instituted the emergency declaration, but kept it going for 2 years.
Past the emergency.
And he admitted by the end, I mean, it got so stupid that he finally admitted, I'm doing this for the money. At first, there was some guys about caring about your health or your well-being or whatever. And Lockdown McGee, Eric Holcomb, old high tax, participated in the largest legalized vote buying scheme probably in American history, in which hundreds of thousands of Hoosiers, this is the lie they told, right? Look, we can shut the society down and you'll be fine. And they did this through putting people on these Medicaid expansions. Well, now all the money has dried up. And so all these people who got addicted to this big, colossal, giant freebie that Eric the Red, governor of the state of Indiana, high tax Holcomb, Lockdown McGee, whatever we're calling him today, sold these people a bill of goods and said, sweet daddy government will forever take care of you. Well, the money has disappeared, so now you people are out ski on the freebie insurance.
Okay, so in terms of total numbers, Indiana still ranks in the top 8, but fell to 18 when it came to the rate of disenrollments. It's Don't
ever believe the government. Don't ever believe Eric Holcomb. Eric Holcomb was as honest about this as he was about saying that he didn't tell Curtis Hill to resign. The guy is a pathological, sociopathic liar, and he used you for his own little re-election scheme. Absolutely. Yeah. This was a colossal, giant money grab like everything else with COVID.
Okay, so Tucker Carlson, he took a drive with, who was he with? Was it Ice Cube?
Yes.
It was Ice Cube. We've got, I don't know if I like this. I know that that Tucker's trying to reach out to maybe new people, but it's a new look for him. He's in a car and they're riding around.
You see me rolling.
I don't know. I know he's trying to expand his audience, and maybe this is just the more personable side of him. He's not sitting behind the desk anymore. But here it is. This is an interaction where Tucker Carlson and Ice Cube, they talk about vaccines.
Why wouldn't you take the vax? You had a direct order to take it. You were told to take it.
Yeah, I'm not real good with direct orders, but on a whole nother note,
but it was a command.
I
mean, I'm sorry, they told you. I mean, they couldn't have been clearer about it.
Yeah, it was pretty clear. Did you take it?
Of course not.
Yeah, no. It wasn't ready. It was 6 month, kind of rush job. And I didn't feel safe.
But they told you were safe.
I know what they said. I know what they said. And I heard them. I heard them loud and clear. But it's not their decision. There's no repercussions if they're wrong. But I get all the repercussions if they're wrong.
Was it a tough call for you?
No, it wasn't a tough call. I wanted to be an example for my kids. Really make sure they didn't take it either. Show them that I wanted to stand on my convictions and that I was willing, to lose $9 million and more, because we've probably lost more, since then.
The idea is that people who stand on their convictions are heroes. They're brave. They have principles. They're the people we look to for inspiration. But in this case, with this decision and these principles, you were not hailed as a hero.
No.
You were attacked.
Why don't you get the vaccine, man? Hey, look, man.
Why does this bother you so much? Like, what are you against fun? I mean, people going out having it. Like, what? Why is this not sitting well with you?
I don't know. I just think it's Tucker in a place we've never seen him before. It just reminds me of that riding in cars with that James Corden or whatever his name is. Like, I'm waiting for them to break out in a song.
So aesthetically, you don't like it. It's not like, let's say he had done his Twitter show and he had Ice Cube on as a guest on his Tucker Twitter show. You would be okay with that?
I don't know. It was just, it just seemed a little different to me. But I thought the most important thing that Ice Cube said was that there's no, regarding the vaccine, there's no repercussions if they're wrong, but he gets all the repercussions if they are.
All right. Hey, when we come back, do you want to do some voicemails? Because we've got all this Biden ridiculousness that we've got to get to. I mean, he was just jibber-jabbering incoherently, and I want to do that at 11:30.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Okay.
And we've got to give away those tickets to the Indiana State Fair.
Okay, so we've got one specific voicemail we want to play. Nigel's dad, who lives downtown, called the show, and he is a really great guy, and he has a message that if you are in the Shreve campaign, you absolutely need to hear this message, because Jefferson talked about learning and listening, and this is a voicemail you need to hear from somebody who lives in downtown and about dealing with guns and violence downtown.
All right, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Hey, Rob, did you know that our national debt is now more than $32 trillion?
Yes, we talk about that almost every single day on this show. I was aware that's a lot of money.
And you know what the government's going to do next? They're going to keep spending trillions of dollars they don't have, and then they're going to turn right around and make you pay for it by raising your taxes.
Yeah, it's called the American way, Casey. Hey, it is Kendall and Casey. You know that because you're listening to us. And you don't just have to sit there and take it. Discover how you could dramatically reduce your taxes in retirement with a free tax reduction analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy. If you have saved at least $200,000. Schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-932-9912.
If you take advantage of some simple tax planning strategies now, you could save a bundle in taxes when you retire. Call that number, 317-932-9912. That's Bill Demery, your retirement guy, right here in Indy at 317-932-9912.
Hammer and Nigel.
On the campaign trail, Ron DeSantis went to a couple different places.
I'm a very hardcore Trump supporter. This is the most important vote that we're going to have.
Who would be better at legislating, beating Joe Biden,
restoring this country to what the founding fathers envisioned?
Your heart against your mind. Trump against DeSantis. Who you got?
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Have you ever dropped off your documents for shredding and wondered what happened to them? At Quick Shred, documents are shred right in front of you at their retail location on East 62nd Street. No appointment needed and convenient curbside assistance is provided. No matter how big or how small, they shred it all. You leave knowing your confidential information has been completely destroyed. Quick Shred is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 and Saturdays, 9 to 2. Quick Shred at 62nd and Binford Boulevard. Quick Shred.
Mark loves summers in Indy, but he hates to paint, so he called Rhino Shield.
It's a two-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
That's because Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 10% off the regular price.
It was done in 2001 and still going strong. From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, above your eyes, below your eyes, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor, you've visited urgent care over and over again, and it's always the same thing. I know. Let's try antibiotics and nasal sprays. But the sinus infections keep coming back. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of Indianapolis Sinus Center called balloon sinuplasty. Imagine the relief of not having to deal with your sinus infections anymore. Set an appointment today with Indianapolis Sinus Center and find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Call 317-528-9650. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake kitchen and bath cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
Lighten up, Francis.
And Casey Daniels.
I want to party with you, cowboy. The two of us together, forget it.
On 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatments at 317-559-PAIN.
I'm so sorry you have just reached my answering machine.
317-684-8444. That's the number if you'd like to call and give us a thought. It's time for voicemails and somebody special today, huh? Nigel's dad.
Yeah, so Nigel's dad lives downtown. He has a really cool place in downtown Indianapolis. I've been there before. He's an incredible craftsman, does all sorts of his own projects, and it is just a really, really neat place. And I wanted to play this voicemail because during our interview with Jefferson Shreve last hour, he talked about wanting to listen and learn from people. Mm-hmm. And I take him at his word on that. I take him at his word that he's open to evolve on topics and policies that he admits, hey, I don't necessarily know a lot about a whole bunch of stuff. And Nigel's dad is just the absolute nicest guy in the world. He's just salt of the earth dude and just the sort of guy that if he's calling to tell you something, he's not Mr. Political, right? Like he's not hanging out at his local Republican Party breakfast. He's calling because he felt this was very important. Nigel told me he was going to call. And I think this is, if the Shreve people need to hear a message about gun violence, about violence in the city, about people who are experiencing violence and how to deal with it, this is the guy they need to listen to. This voicemail is a little longer than what we normally play, but it's really, really good. Go ahead.
Hey, Rob and Casey. This is the first time I've ever left a voicemail, and In full disclosure, I should let you know that I'm Nigel's dad. The reason for the voicemail is to give you my perspective on Shreve's position to ban assault rifles and constitutional carry. I'm qualified at some level to have an opinion because I live a block from your studio on the Circle. I have a firsthand look at what happens in the city every day. When I heard Shreve might have a chance to beat Hogsett, I was so excited I reached out to see if I could host a meet and greet to support him. But before I could put that together, I heard about his position on assault weapons and constitutional carry. Well, I no longer have an interest in a meet and greet, and here's why. I was home the night of the BLM riots. That night, hundreds of rioters not only broke out the windows and ransacked the restaurant in my building, but broke windows and came inside the entry to my home. Fortunately, they didn't climb the stairs of the home, but if they had, IMPD wasn't there. I'm sure my safety wasn't on Hogsett's mind. My only protection that night came from the weapons I legally choose to own. I guess Shreve wants me to give some of those back. Also wants to limit my ability to carry a handgun. Maybe he should move to my block and see what life in India is really like before he makes policy decisions. If he was my neighbor, over the last year, he'd have seen multiple murders within 100 feet of his home. Even a carjacking with a 70-year-old woman in the back seat, steps from his front door, and a grandmother with a grandchild robbed at knife point next to his parked car. And those are just the highlights. Shreve's policy, I think, would take away my right to defend my home and life. And I think that idea sucks. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. If Shreve's policies pass, the bad guys might hand over their assault rifles and not carry handguns anymore. Then I won't need mine. Yeah, right. It's time to move.
I think that's a message they need to hear, and I think they've heard it from other people. But it's easy sometimes. Well, hey, it's Jason Hammer, or hey, it's Guy Relford. That's a regular dude. That's a regular non-political guy who is Nigel and his family are Hoosier lifers, and that guy's put a lot of money into his property, something that wasn't nice, and he's made it nice. And he is telling you that this issue is important to him, and that he feels as though you are directing a solution at someone who is not the problem, rather than the people who are the problem.
Right. That's it exactly. And that's why people are angry about this plan.
It is. And, look, again, if you missed it, I'm sure Kev's going to have that up on the podcast. People can listen to. The news is playing it. I know other Hammer and Nigel are playing it. Abdul's already got it posted over at Indie Politics. I know Jefferson Shreve wants a better Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. I don't dispute that at all. And I think he has been convinced that the proposals he's making... Look, I changed on this. I thought it was pandering in the beginning. I think you come out of that interview totally convinced he believes that these proposals are going to fix violence. It's not a box-checking thing. The problem is he's not right about that, and it's not going to fix anything. And it's already illegal to buy a handgun under the age of 18 in the state of Indiana.
He mentioned 14-year-olds have handguns in their
They're not obtaining them illegally to begin with.
Right. They're already breaking the law.
The Supreme Court has said you can't. It doesn't matter what the legislature does. The Supreme Court's already said you can't do the assault weapons ban. Nobody even knows what an assault weapon is because this is the problem. It may be a guy who's well-meaning, and I think he is, and I think he wants a better city, and he wants a safer city. That is not the way to do it, though, and that's the problem, and that's what's pissing so many people off.
You can't punish law-abiding citizens to try and get at those that are breaking the law.
We need to punish the criminals.
Correct.
We need to punish the people who are committing the crimes. The system is broken. Ryan Mears is broken. Joe Hogsett is broken. Nigel's dad is not broken.
Correct.
You have something free?
Yes.
You're playing the role of Eric Holcomb today. You're just giving stuff away?
Giving it away.
Someone else is paying for?
Hey, you know what? It's some free. 317-293-9393. And if you would like a family 4-pack to the Indiana State Fair, be caller number 3 right now. 317-293-9393.
239. 217-239-9393. 93.
Did I get the phone number wrong?
Look, we just want to make sure that someone has the chance to go with, because Kev, if this person
239-9393.
If this person wants to invite you, you will go with them in your van to the state fair?
Sure. Yeah, I'll give them a ride. If they need a lift, I'm there.
All right, 317-239-9393. Caller number 3 right now. Good luck with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
You can be ready whether it's the sun or the rain. Highs in the 90s today. I'm Donnie Burgess. Here's what's trending at 11:30. While you're prepping for severe weather, temperatures are going to rise Thursday.
More chances for severe weather today.
But the bigger threat as we look forward going on through the weekend, and the other side of the story is the heat.
The National Weather Service has issued a heat advisory in place for much of central Indiana beginning tomorrow, says forecaster Jason Puma.
Once again, that's going to produce heat index values right around 105. So this is some of the hottest temperatures we've seen so far this year, and we need to be ready for them.
Puma urges caution for Hoosiers that work and play outside. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
$3.61 is your average price for gas today, says Gas Buddy. It's $3.75 throughout most of central Indiana. I'm Donnie Burgess on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Pierce Jewelers wants you to know the diamond world has changed. You can choose mined or lab-grown diamonds. Unlike chain stores, Pierce Jewelers carries both. They can educate and help you save your hard-earned money.
Gilbert worked in retail and restaurant management for 14 years. It was time for a change.
I recognized where I was at was vulnerable to the whims of the economy.
Then he heard about My Computer Career. Gilbert went for it.
In as little as 7 months, I got all of my certifications at a fraction of a cost for college.
He became an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
I can work from anywhere. I have more time for my family as well.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's up? I'm tired of feeling so bloated. That used to be me. Then I got this. Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion. A probiotic, right? Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Learn more at alignprobiotics.com.
Here's Jiffy Lube owner Steve Sanner and Rod Brown, Director of Operations.
Hey, Rod, what drives you nuts these days?
You mean aside from having such a demanding boss?
Hey, now, if we don't expect perfection from ourselves, how will we ever achieve excellence? Any job worth doing is worth doing right. Dare to be great.
Geez, I was just kidding, boss. What drives me nuts is how some people seem to think all they need to do to take care of their car is to change the oil.
I know, so many competitors just drain the oil, change the filter, slap you on the tailpipe, and kick you out the door.
At Jiffy Lube, we believe information is power. That's why we include a thorough inspection of all the important parts of your car that need to be properly maintained in order to be safe and to get the most life possible out of your engine.
At Jiffy Lube, everything we do is designed to help you make 200,000 miles the new 100,000 miles. We specialize in replacing parts that wear out, and we do not pay commissions, so you can trust that our advice is all about helping you take great care of your car.
Helping you get the most out of your engine. Indiana's favorite, Jiffy Lube.
Did you know that people born from 1945 to 1965 have the highest rates of hepatitis C, but most don't know they're infected? People can live for decades without symptoms, but over time, hepatitis C can cause serious health problems, including liver damage and even liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 1965, the CDC recommends that you get a blood test for hepatitis C. So talk to your doctor about getting tested. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
Your one blood donation can help save the lives of up to 3 people. Give blood through the American Red Cross to help hospital patients. Visit redcrossblood.org today.
It takes everyone in the community working together to create a brighter future. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Visit liveunited.org to learn how you can help.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Congratulations to Barbie from Trafalgar. She was our winner of the Indiana State Fair Family 4-pack. 11:36, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So Hunter's lawyers, did you hear about this? They were pranking the judge. You know, Hunter Biden right now, he is in court.
Yes.
Apparently pleading guilty.
Yes.
Don't know if the Delaware judge, Mary Ellen Norica, will accept the plea deal or not. Stay tuned for that. But yesterday, his lawyers called in an attempt to remove papers from the court docket. They were saying it was unfortunate and unintentional miscommunication, and they were acting like they were Republican lawyers. So they pretty much were pranking.
I think isn't that sort of like unethical or illegal to assume someone else's identity?
Yeah, well, she said, I want to hear from you guys by 9 o'clock last night. Explain yourselves. Apparently, she was not happy about it.
It is very surprising that Hunter Biden or anyone representing him would do anything that might be untowards or underhanded with such an upstanding person as a client.
Of course. But his dad, the big guy, Joe Biden, he did a whole lot of Bidening at his speech yesterday.
Oh my gosh, Casey, this was just, I mean, look, there's no one like Mount Rushmore moment here, but in the same speech to have this many things.
The collective.
I mean, it is staggering that this man is president of the United States and that there is at least probably 40% of the populace who this stuff happens on a daily basis and they just go, no, this is fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to the coherent one. It's ridiculous, though. We have just a smorgasbord of incoherence and ridiculousness. And here he is, right out of the gate. He claims he's ended cancer.
If you could do anything at all, Joe, what would you do? I said I'd cure cancer. They looked at me like, why cancer? Because no one thinks we can. That's why, and we can. We ended cancer as we know it.
We ended cancer as we know it.
We ended cancer as we know
Did
it.
I mishear that?
No. I was listening to this last night, and I have to be honest with you, it got me upset that he would say something like that. We've ended cancer. I know he ran on that was his moonshot. He still hasn't done it. He's claiming it. But having a father who passed away from cancer.
Yeah.
That's really, really frustrating to hear.
You mentioned this. Here is Biden, in fact. This is when he was running for president. He promised that he was going to end cancer.
If I'm elected president, you're going to see the single most important thing that changes in America is we're going to cure cancer.
Yeah. He said he was going to do it, has not done it yet, but is claiming that he's done it.
And you're right, Casey, because there are many, many people who give huge amounts of time out of their lives every single year. If you're involved in things like Relay for Life or Walk for the Cure, Race for the Cure, all these different things of people who are actually trying to fight to find an actual cure for various cancers. There are people such as yourself, many, 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 many people, millions of people who have had loved ones who passed away. It's whether he meant to say it or not, or he misspoke or he didn't, it's really insulting to those people.
Yeah, it is really insulting. When you have seen someone that you love who has neuropathy in their fingertips because they can't feel anything, when they lose their sense of taste because of the chemotherapy, when they lose all of the hair on their body, and when they have to army crawl into the bathroom because they're too weak to stand anymore from the effects of cancer, and to have your president stand up there and say, we've ended it as we know it.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It's bad.
Okay, so that was the ridiculous side. Now we get to the nonsensical babbling side. And in the same speech, now again, this is not a montage. This is not, we're taking different speeches from different parts of the country or different parts of the day. This is, all the things we're playing now are in the same speech. So in the same, now, actually getting closer to the truth on this one, Casey.
Slightly.
In the same speech, Biden claims 100 people died from COVID.
And we're still feeling the profound loss of the pandemic. As I mentioned, we have over 100 people dead. That's 100 empty chairs around the kitchen table.
He said it twice. So it's not like he could say, I misread the prompter.
Yeah.
He did it twice.
Well, he is right. We have had over 100 people who have died, but that's a really big table with 100 chairs.
But again, I come back to, we're probably getting closer to 100 than the 9 billion, trillion, million, gajillion that they claimed actually died from COVID.
The pendulum swung a little too far the other direction.
He did it twice, Casey.
I know.
It's not like I meant to say 1 million and I said 100. He did it twice.
Okay, but here's the difference. In that last clip where he said 100 people died from COVID, you could hear him. You could understand him.
Yes.
It was English.
Yeah.
He articulated. He was way off, but at least you could understand it. This next one, I don't even know what he's talking about here.
And the result, by some important measures, there is greater parity, not nearly a greater parity today than in the past.
Parity as in comedy?
Greater
parity? Things are funnier now? They're not funnier now.
Don't even know what he's saying. Neither does he.
I feel like we need to hear that one again.
Yeah, would it be possible to play that again? Thank you.
And the result, by some important measures, there is greater parity, not nearly a greater parity today than in the past.
It's greater parity today than in the past. Glad he's laughing.
All right, last one, because we probably could have just played the whole speech and done the segment.
It would have been easier to play the stuff that made sense.
All right, this is the last one. This is the last thing we'll subject you to. Here is Biden claiming not to know the difference between a broken arm and a mental breakdown.
I don't know what the difference between breaking your arm and having a mental breakdown is.
Isn't he married to a doctor?
That's right. I mean, she's not a medical doctor, but she is a...
Still, really? He doesn't know the difference between a broken arm and a mental breakdown? One...
This is the same speech, Casey. It's all from the same thing.
Do we need to explain the difference? One can be most likely fixed, cured in maybe 6 weeks to a couple of months.
Well, in fairness, maybe you broke your arm while having a mental breakdown from dealing with all of Joe Biden's policies.
Possibly, but the mental breakdown can be a lifelong struggle and not only affects one person, it affects everyone around them.
Okay, when we come back, there is a big event happening in Indianapolis in September, and I'm going to ask you if you are going to go.
Okay, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Pigs do fly at the Indiana Pork Tents at the Indiana State Fair. Stop by any of the tent locations during the Indiana State Fair, July 28th through August 20th, to try this year's signature food, delicious barbecue pig wings. You can always check out the super popular pork burger, pulled pork sandwich, a new 12-ounce pork chop, and a boneless pork loin sandwich too. Look for the Indiana Pork Tents near Pioneer Village, West Pavilion, and the new Fall Creek Pavilion. Learn more at indianapork.com.
You've undoubtedly heard of the calm before the storm. Well, Michaelis is the calm after the storm. More than 3 decades of restoring damage from wind, rain, and hail. They've got your back, not to mention your front, side, and roof. It's why home and business owners beat a path to Michaelis' door, because it's always answered around the clock with welcome arms. Your port in the storm. From site security and tarping services to complete restoration work, they can handle anything Mother Nature throws your way. Seasoned and trustworthy pros who are never deterred by a little wind and rain, or a mother load of it for that matter. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-339-3838. 800-339-3838. That's 800-339-3838.
The latest local news, commentary from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey,
5.6%.
Hammer and Nigel, podcasts. Listen to the station live whenever, wherever, online at WIBC.com.
Good morning. It is 11:46. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I don't know. You had a look on your face.
I was just looking at you.
Looks have tones.
I was just looking at you.
Okay.
I was trying to engage in a conversation here.
I thought maybe you had something on your mind.
No,
something you want to get off your chest?
No, I had a question for you. There was a big event was announced yesterday.
Yeah.
And
you're talking about Dave Chappelle, right?
Yes, he's coming to Indianapolis at Gainbridge Fieldhouse September the 13th. And I'm curious, this seems like something you might actually go to because you're an events person. Yeah,
it normally would be something that I would be interested in going to. I think that he's got an interesting sense of humor. However, here's the however. The show's not going to allow cell phones.
Oh, how do they do that?
And you have to put your phone in a sealed, or your smartwatch, in a sealed yonder pouch during the show.
Wow.
And it will be unlocked at the end of the show. They say that there's going to be unlocking stations in the lobby. But that to me seems like I'm paying to go see you.
Yeah.
Don't restrict me.
That's pretty.
Don't make it difficult for me to enjoy this.
So you've got to put. This is not like keys in the bowl or anything like that,
right?
Okay, this is a
little pouch. You get it when you get there, and you put your phone in it, and it locks, and you can't. I mean, I know it's to protect Dave Chappelle, so people aren't recording it and sending it out while the show is happening.
Because he wants you to pay to see the show.
Right, and he doesn't want it to be out there on social media, giving it away free to other people who didn't pay. However, don't restrict me and my belongings. This is not anything illegal. It doesn't put anybody else in danger.
Yeah.
So don't make it hard for me to enjoy my time.
So you get to keep your phone with you in this locked thing.
Yeah, this yonder pouch.
But the only thing is you can't get it out to do anything. So
unless you go to an unlocking station.
Oh, wow. That's pretty wild.
So I would think for parents who are out or have a newborn like yourself, you want to be able to be in constant contact with the babysitter.
Yeah.
And
wait. What is babysitter stuff? You're not I just thought I would leave Bruce in charge. Is that no? Am I supposed to be doing that?
You didn't say take the baby with you, because that would be, I think, inappropriate. Tickets for the show go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.
It's pretty wild to think a comedian is popular enough to play Gainbridge.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he is, and clearly he's arguably the most famous comedian in the world. But you think about playing tonight at Crackers Comedy Club, or maybe somebody who might, like, I saw Jerry Seinfeld years ago at the Marat, but I don't think even Jerry Seinfeld could play Gainbridge Fieldhouse. You're talking 15,000, 16,000 people. For a comedian, that's pretty amazing.
I don't know. I think Jerry Seinfeld could pack that. I've seen him as well. But I think you could.
Can I have a hot take here for a second since it's half my show?
Please.
Jerry Seinfeld is brutally unfunny.
You think so?
The people...
You love his show, though, his TV show.
The reason the show is great is the people around... First of all, the writing was phenomenal, and the characters around him were great. Jerry Seinfeld is not funny at all.
You don't like observational comedy?
I honestly think Seinfeld was great, largely because of Larry David.
Yeah, I mean, look, the writing's phenomenal. Seinfeld is also a horrific actor. He's laughing during the whole show. Anytime there's anything, he is working very hard to not cut into laughter during the scenes. It's the whole show, 9 years or whatever it was. Yes, I went to this was years ago. I was in college, and I went, and I just thought, this is awful.
I saw him right after 9/11. He performed in South Bend like 3 days right after 9/11.
Yeah.
And it was actually more moving for a comedy show. I mean, he came out and he said some patriotic things, and then he went into his routine. But it was interesting to see a comedian right after a national tragedy like 9/11.
Yeah. Okay, big day today, Casey. Mick Jagger is 80 years old.
I thought you were going to say big day today because Jefferson Shreve was on the show, but no, Mick Jagger is 80, huh?
80 years old.
Do you think he is sick of singing Satisfaction? Like, how many times in that guy's life has he sung that hit?
Well, Satisfaction usually is, when you do the all-time great rock songs, it's usually in the top 5. Oftentimes, I think Rolling Stone had a list years ago where it was number 1. It's usually right up there with like a Rolling Stone, etc. You're right. He has probably played that song no fewer than in concert 5,000 times.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about how often they've toured, how long they've been touring. It's probably not a stretch to say he has played that song 5,000 times. Have you ever seen the Rolling Stones in person?
No.
I saw them at the track.
Yeah.
It was a very incredible event. They played the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the 4th of July. It is one of the few times in my entire life I've ever paid market price for anything.
And you waited in line forever, didn't you?
Oh my gosh. So my buddy, who is very connected in the business community, this is before I totally alienated myself from everyone in the business community, was able to get, they do the way they did at least at this event, there was like sections. There was a gold section, and then there was the closer you get. He had access, and it was very, 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 it was impossible to get them. He got one, and I paid face value for it. He was very nice and sold it to me at face value, which was $300.
Wow.
And I agonized over that.
I bet you did.
For days.
Was it worth it?
Oh, it was totally worth it. It was totally worth it.
Was that like 2015?
Yes, 2000, July 4th, 2015. And there are two things that I remember from that show that stand out to me. Number one, it was standing room only in this gold section. So if you left, you lost your spot unless you had somebody who could hold the spot for you. Well, we got there at, 2 in the afternoon, and this concert didn't start till 9, and I was there by myself. And so it was like standing in the sun for 7 hours.
That's a really long time.
Oh my gosh, it was brutal. I could never do it now. I was in much better shape back then. Could never do that now. The other thing that I remember is when you first got there, because there's only they let it was 100 people down in this gold level area, whatever it was. And so there's not that many people there in the beginning. But as you got closer to the concert, more and more people obviously start filing in. And there's a moment, they probably took the stage at like 9:15. It was supposed to start at 9. It's 9:15, 9:20, whatever. And they're about to take the stage. And I looked back, and Casey, it was a sea of humanity.
Yeah.
The Indianapolis Motor Speedway, there had to be 60,000 people at this concert.
Yeah.
And it just goes all the way back. And I look, and people just keep boxing in. And I looked to the guy next to me who I didn't know. And it's funny now, but it's very real at the time. I said, there's only one place left for us to go, and that is
that's
up
on the stage.
And if you know the track record of the Rolling Stones and concerts and things they've been a part of and other famous bands have been a part of, it's a very scary feeling. It's now thankfully once the concert started, that stopped, but that was a super claustrophobic, scary feeling to know there is nowhere left for you to go but up on that stage. And wow, yikes.
You were feeling that people in the back were going to be pushing forward to get closer and closer, and you were going to get crushed.
Was it the Who that had the concert in was it in Cincinnati? Is that right?
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my gosh, this is the scariest.
You thought it was going to happen to you.
Here's the thing I'll say about watching Mick Jagger. I've never seen anybody like him perform on stage. And what I mean by that is, it wasn't so much that he was a great live performer. It was, I am convinced the guy was in a trance the entire time, because I was as close at one point as me and you are. And it was like he was just staring into the abyss and doing the maneuvers and the dancing and the Mick Jagger stuff. And it was like, are you with us? Are you under hypnosis? Are you all right?
No, he was under something else.
Man, that dude was like
Maybe
71 at the time, and it was great. He was
substance?
awesome.
I don't know. Okay, thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. Good job today. And thank you, Jack, who has been training on the board as well. And thank you for listening. We're going to count on you to be back here tomorrow. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Summer's in Indy. And since 2001, Rhino Shield has been covering Indiana homes and businesses. Just ask Mike.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
And Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
Business owners, you too can get the 25-year protection of Rhino Shield right now for 10% off the regular price.
They started on the building. They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back